Funny Toys Tuesdays, episode 38.
Slowly getting to the 40.
Yeah, man, almost 50 of these things. All right, we continue and end our journey of the Order factions tonight. So pretty excited. We got a long time friendly face on. Hasn't been on the show for a while. Probably mostly my fault. James is here. So where are you at again, James? Like Minnesota or something?
I currently reside in Kansas City.
Kansas City, that's right. That's right. Are you a Chiefs fan?
My wife is, so I guess by proxy I am.
Sounds about right.
We'll just start with you because you haven't been on in a while. What have you been up to? How's Kansas City? I heard you got a golden ticket.
I did. I won a GT here in Kansas City right at the end of 3rd edition with an army of Nurgle that was primarily allies.
The days have since been gone.
Yes. It was the same, almost the same list I took to LVO. I did really well at LVO with it. I ended up only really losing to Jeremy, who won it. So I was okay with taking that list to a GT and seeing how it would do, and performed great. It was just, the right amount of tanky. Before Sloppity Bow Piper got, nerfed into oblivion.
Yeah, absolutely shreked.
The big oof.
Yeah, and it was. So I won that event over 2 days and got my golden ticket. So I'm going to be headed to Worlds in Atlanta here in November. And other than that, I've been trying to play as much 4th as I can, figuring out what's good and what's not. I was trying to lean heavily into FEC, and I know you haven't had the show yet, so I won't jump into it too much. But it's a struggle right now with them. They're not doing great.
Yeah. I just played against FEC the other day with my OBR list for OTTD, and it went really well for me. So I think they struggle in just at least that list struggled in just doing enough damage to do anything against me at that point. So I will say ghouls are priced really well though.
Yes, that's about it. What you like the list that I've started building for it, you're looking at 120-ish ghouls, and like 2 reinforced 40-mans, 2 20s. So what's that in like 90? So almost 100 ghouls basically.
I played 80.
Yeah. Ghouls. And you just try to buff them up and do some shenanigans, and it's really hard because it's one of those armies that you need the hero support, and heroes are drops.
Yep.
And so you try to, you're really trying to get a list build that's 2 drops. I think is the dream,
Yeah, but it's real tough to do that with so many
with
heroes.
FEC, you're like, okay, 3 drops, is that okay? Can I go for it? Is that really going to take me out of competitiveness? And it just it's tough right now for FEC.
Yep, agreed. I definitely see it.
I've gone ahead and I've just given up on drops, and like all my lists are just 4 drops. And I'm just like, go ahead, you choose. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, my OBR list is 3 drops. I think 2 to 4 is kind of where everyone's at.
I'm
Cameron.
pretty much 3.
Yeah. Cameron, what have you been up to?
I am 97% of the way done with my blogers. I finished all of my dry brushing today. I based them this morning, and all I need to do is put snow on them, and that's about it.
Good.
And then all of my ogres are done, and I'm done with them.
And then you will be ready for next weekend.
Agreed.
I've just been, again, going through the factions as well as updating AOS reminders because, Jesus, it's been just it's been a job for sure. I also got my first rendition of all of my faction cards that I create. which are pretty cool. I got all the War Masters are foils, which are pretty cool. They came out really well. I need to put them in sleeves, and again, I only did like 5 or 6 factions, so I still have a long way to go on creating the rest of those. So yeah, so that's just kind of been my life, just a bunch of coding and updating my cards. So
Fair enough.
cool. We'll just jump into Stormcasts because we got a lot to get through. Smite GT, if you haven't signed up, sign up. It's actually funny. James was the one that we took Smite over for.
You're welcome for all the terrain.
Still running strong. So yeah, so definitely sign up for that. Again, tier list explanation. I just put this up here. As always, if you want to deep dive into Stormcast, Stormkeep is a good place to go. They've got like 4-hour shows of just Stormcast review. We just pick out what we like and what we don't like. We don't necessarily go super deep dive into this. So
I will give my opinion.
yeah. Cool. All right, let's get into it. I'll go through the overview and then get your guys' take. Even with the models that are coming out for next year, this still has too many Warscrolls. There's just too many. Like some of them will have crit mortal, some of them crit 2 hits, but they're essentially the same profile. Like there's just too many choices, I think. Again, we talked about many
bad choices too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of traps.
Yeah.
There is a lot of traps.
Many Warscrolls will be Legend next year. You have pretty much everything with this index, though. If you want, anti-wizard, or if you want anti-infantry, like anything that you want in the list to kind of counter, you can, because they just got so much stuff. And I still think these guys will be good at scoring battle tactics. With the Soul Sworn and stuff like that, I still think they're going to be pretty good at scoring battle tactics and objectives. So we'll start with James. Anything else you want to do for just an overview?
This army is very elite. No matter how you shake it, you're not going to have bodies on objectives. So one thing that I think you have to be super wary of when you play these guys is control scores, objective control scores. Because if your opponent has ways to debuff your objective control scores, you're going to struggle very much to hold primaries with this army.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of traps units in this army. And then the problem is, I've gone through the whole Skaven Tide, and I honestly am not a big fan of anything in that book, in that set. And a lot of people are going to grab their spearhead box and throw those guys on the table and be like, I'm going to be good, and those units are just not competitive right now, as from what I've seen.
I love the flying boys. Those flying boys.
Are you prosecutors?
Yep, there we go. The prosecutors. I made a list of prosecutors.
I also was thinking about doing a list of just pure prosecutors.
I'll go ahead and get my list once we get a little bit further in, but it is a very memey, very fun list. And it's just an all or nothing unga bunga, and I love it.
I will say this, I called this army the threes because everything's on like 3 up, 3 up, 3 up save.
What? 3 up, 3 ups everywhere?
Maybe not everywhere, but you definitely have 3 up save everywhere. That's pretty much very apparent throughout the entire index. All right, cool. So let's go into the battle traits. These are all good. I mean, Finest Hour is obviously one of the best abilities. You just get it. It doesn't cost a command point. It's just once per turn, but it is extremely good.
It's once per turn during your own turn, though.
You
can't do it during your opponent's.
It is only your hero phase, but does it?
I feel like the Scions of the Storm ability, in another army, I think it's what we call fun flavor, a fun battle trait.
It's a trap.
This army really needs this though, because they're so slow.
Yeah.
Unless you're running Cav and Dragons, like Annihilators, I think they move 4 inches.
Well,
Where am
hey,
I going to go with 4 inches starting on the board?
Right.
exactly. Remember 3rd edition? There was 2. One of them gave you the Signs of the Storm, and the other one you never took. So
Yeah.
they just decided, hey, no one takes it anyways. So
I also
much.
think the Heaven Sent is really good. They actually have recursion that you can do over and over again. I mean, it is a command point, but it's pretty good.
we're gonna go back to that 3rd edition. You know that one thing that every single list always took,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
this ability.
The
You
once
know
per
what?
game. Yep.
We're not going to joke ourselves. We're just going to give it to you because we know you're going to take it anyways. So there you go.
Yep. All in all, I think these are pretty decent. I just really think the Finest Hour is going to come in handy quite a bit. +1 to wound and +1 to save in this army is really good. Really good.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good. I'm glad they made it to only your turn, because if it was your opponent's turn as well, I think it would be a tad strong.
Yeah, I agree. It's already a really strong ability.
It is real strong.
All right. Cool. I think that's battle traits. Pretty self-explanatory. Nothing too crazy. We'll go into formations. I think Vanguard Wing is garbage.
I would disagree with that. And if you'll give me but a second.
It's just the 3-up. That's the only thing I hate about it.
But the thing is, you don't rely on it. So
And-
it's a nice to have.
And
Go
ahead.
Nope.
Go ahead, Cameron.
All right. No, I had this conversation.
Yep.
I know this just happened. It
In our
came
last
out,
show.
in our last show.
Yep.
But out of the entirety of 4th edition, this one ability
It's
is
bad.
my most hated
Yeah,
ability
it's
in the
bad.
entire game.
Because you can't roll a 4.
Well, no.
No,
If you
it's because it's
decide
a
to do
core
this-
ability.
Yeah, if you decide to do this,
Oh.
they cannot move afterwards.
Which means you have an option, a possibility of doing something useful.
Yeah,
And if you
I-
fail, you just don't get a
You
move.
just don't get to move.
But what you're doing with this is you're using it to teleport around your reinforced unit of long strikes and using them to snipe heroes off.
Oh, so you mean you put your long strikes in a bad position, and so they're just going to stay in a bad position?
No, well,
You just move them around next turn.
if
Oh,
you get
yeah,
a 3-up,
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
become useless this turn, and maybe next turn they
Yeah.
might be useful.
yeah, I don't know.
Eh.
You could have just dropped them down in a useful position because you had deployment drop down in the first place.
I just think, like, with this army being slow, having extra options for movement is not something to
I agree.
shake a stick at.
I agree. I just
Um,
think there's other ways to do it. Like, bring a Soulsworn. I think that's a better option than taking Vanguard Wing.
Yeah, so my counter to that is every time you say, well, just bring this or just bring that, like,
Yes,
Stormcasts
points.
are just points.
I know, I know. I
They're
get you.
hard
I get
points
you.
to fit in.
Yeah.
And when you start building a list in this army and you're like, man, I would like this Lord Relector, I would like this Nard Arcanum, I would like, this, every time you're just like this one little piece, you're finding you're already maxed out. And so getting something that is not points that you can be like, formation, I get my teleport, I think is nice. And it gives you some options on teleporting stuff around for some extra damage where you want it to be.
I would think that Vanguard Wing would be an amazing ability, and I don't know why they did it this way. If they just got rid of the core
If
keyword,
they got rid of the core keyword, it would be just fine. And I don't
And,
think
like-
it's overpowered. I think it's fine. I think
yeah.
there's...
And only thing that giving the core because it's already built into the rules that if you teleport, you can't move. So I
Right,
don't know why it
right.
has core.
If you're set up on the battlefield, you can't move after. So, I don't know.
I think it's a trap because it just gives you a false sense of security.
To James's
where,
point,
like-
though, if there is one unit you would do this with, it is your long strikes and stuff like that. Stuff that you don't really care about.
That's how
moving
I'm going to
anyway.
play. And I'm not reinforcing mine. I'm just taking one unit of long strikes, and they're going to be my pop over here, shoot that hero. And if it doesn't happen, oh well, they've got that hero for another turn. Better or not, I'm going to have that chance to shoot that hero. And, it's... I just looked at the rest of these when I was building a list, and I didn't see one that was going to benefit the way that I was building the list as much as Vanguard.
That's the biggest problem with the battle formations is they're all keyword locked, right? So
Yeah.
if you're running Ruination, you're going to probably take the 5 board. If you're running the Warrior Chamber, you're probably going to take Thunderhead. So it is, these are very keyword locked battle formations, which kind of sucks, but they're okay. I guess it just really depends on which keyword you are taking the most of, and that's probably going to be your battle formation.
Yeah.
Like Ruination
agreed.
Chamber, I think is really good. I think it's really good.
Yes. Because Ruination Chamber is, let's see, the
That's the
prosecutors.
5 up board.
It's all
board.
Yeah, it's all the new figures pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep. There's also another thing for
Okay.
Ruination Chamber that's old, but I can't remember what it. I think it's prosecutors. Prosecutors.
Yeah, I'm taking nothing in Ruination Chamber, so
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if you don't have a keyword for it, then
Right.
But like when I look at the other ones, like we have what is it, the Thunderhead host, like the Warrior Chamber. A lot of people are going to be taking Warrior Chamber.
right.
Yeah, there's
so
a lot of Warrior Chamber.
my counter to that is most of the time if you're taking Warrior Chamber, you're going to take Bastion Karthlos, and he's going to give you all out attack for free, and so you're already getting +1 to
That's
hit,
fair.
and it's guaranteed.
That's
And
that's fair.
But
so
only for one person.
I
don't
think
so.
I don't think it's locked. I think everybody who uses it around him gets it for free.
Oh, if that's the case, then I agree with you.
Each time a friendly Stormcast unit wholly within 12 inches uses the all-out attack command, no command points are spent. You can only do it
Yeah.
once, though, right?
Yeah, so you only get one
Okay.
person with Bastion.
But still,
Yeah,
Um,
and then we go down to the Extremist Chamber, which I think most people are going to be taking, and like that's just a great ability.
yeah, 3-up strike first, really good. Extremis is which ones are those? Is the
I think those are just dragons.
dragons.
Yeah,
Got it,
yeah.
got it.
I think it's
Oh.
dragons.
Oh no, I get a possibility of first strike during my opponent's turn.
And if I was running dragons, I would say 100%.
100%, yeah. I just don't know if all
But-
my lists are running dragons.
Yeah. If you do not run a crap ton of warriors and have no Extremist Chamber and have no Ruination Chamber, which is a thing because this is a massive book,
Yeah.
I can see you taking.
And that's where I sit. I'm not taking anything else. Almost all Vanguard. So for me, it's like
I
That's
will
fair.
I will concede this to you.
I still don't like it. But I
you
get
know,
it.
like, what are my other choices?
Yeah, I know. I
You
I
get
really,
it by proximity.
I am
Yeah.
really sad that these are all keyword locked. I wish they weren't as keyword locked as they were, but it is what it is.
It's weird
Yeah, I
because
agree.
other books aren't as keyword
I know,
locked as
I know.
this one is.
Yeah,
I know.
it's a weird thing.
All right, let's go into heroic traits. These are all good. I didn't think anything of these were back-breaking, but these are all decent. The best one that I had was Envoy of the Heavens, which is the 5-up board. So
I would say don't. Once again, I go back to control score being a very difficult thing with this, so don't overlook Staunch Defender.
fair.
It's just hard to put models on objectives with these guys.
Yeah, and I think you kind of sold me a little bit on the beginning of the show with the control score, because I do think they are going to struggle with that. So I would definitely move Staunch Defender up a little bit for sure.
And in, like, yeah, I definitely see it because you're going to get maybe 12 models on a good day on an objective. All of them have objective score of 1. Heroes have a little bit more than that. And the Staunch Defender increases all of the units, not just their units, which is pretty good. Just having 2 units immediately adds 6 onto the objective, which is
It'd
might
be great
able to
on
do
like
too.
sitting your Vindicators on a back objective with your Lord Arcanum, a support piece, and they're holding that back objective that you don't want your opponent to take because it's 5 points. Because a lot of missions, battle packs right now, making that home objective worth extra points.
Yeah. And like none of these artifacts are like, oh my god, why are you not taking it?
Right. There's
So-
no auto includes here, which is nice. And nothing's backbreaking. It's just what do you want, right?
Agreed.
All right, let's go to artifacts. Again, kind of the same thing we just talked about with the heroic traits. I don't think anything's... we talked about Lumineth last week, and their stuff was like... Everything was good, right? These are a little bit more doled down, but again, I don't think any of these are an auto-include. It's just, what do you want? What do you prefer in having? So
If you're taking a big dragon, like as you said, the big heroes and all that are not named, the Mirror Shield I think is absolutely glorious.
I
But
like the strike first as well.
yeah, the Quicksilver draw. Oh no, it's once per battle. But
It is
oh
once per
no,
battle, but it's real good. It can save you for sure.
Yeah.
I just get quick strike, and
And
there's no
you don't have to roll
3-up
for it.
or anything
Yes,
like
you don't
that.
have to roll for
Yeah.
it. You just get it. Thank God. Thank you, Games Workshop.
I think this is my one caveat to what I've been saying about the null pendant. This one's a trap,
Yes.
particularly because it says you have to be in combat with the target. So you don't want your usually your non-named
Right, in
stuff,
combat.
heroes in combat.
Right. Yeah.
So this is I think that's a pass. I think that's
Right.
going to be a trap for some players
Fair.
that are looking at this trying to get control score.
Totally fair.
100%. You have to be in combat. It's once per
Yeah.
battle. You have to survive combat. Like it's, I don't see it. You,
Now,
you
that
have a
being
higher
said,
chance of you have a higher chance of surviving with the Quicksilver.
I do say a lot of your stuff is pretty tanky, but I do agree with you. I think Null Pendant is obviously a trap. I do agree with you on that. But your heroes are a lot tankier than some of the stuff that I've gone through. So
Yeah. Oh, and that mostly has to do with the fact of mortal wounds, losing their potency.
Right.
They're not
Right,
as
right.
rampant as they were in third edition.
and Ren going down, that also helps.
Yes.
All right, spell lore. These are all really good. I didn't like Thundershock as much. I mean, it's still good, but the Unlimited is really good, and then Starfall is also really good. I mean, halving your opponent's charge is extremely good. Extremely good.
It's so funny because their spell lore is it's pretty good. Thundershock is kind of meh, but like, oh no, I lower your charge dice by 1
Pretty
from
good.
an 18-inch range.
It's so
Like,
good.
heck yeah.
Yeah. It's on a 7, so it's a little tough to get, but you use what is it? Is it Cronus or Cares? I can't remember which one.
Oh,
Which one's the caster?
Crondis is the caster.
So you
Yeah,
use
he's a
Cronus,
two-caster dragon. I
and he
think
gets
he's
plus 2.
two-cast.
Yeah, he gets plus 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy to get Starfall off. Lightning Blast is just great.
Yeah.
It's
Li-
just
Lightning
good.
Blast is so great because it doesn't have a range and it's really easy to cast.
Really easy.
The only
cast.
problem is you're not going to have the casters to spam this.
I know. Yeah. You're 100% right.
Yeah, that's the fallacy with the spell
Good
lore.
Good spell
Yeah.
lore. You're not going to have the casters to take advantage of this.
There's another
And-
army that I just did reviewing for this that's the same way. I think Beast of Chaos spell lore is absolutely insane. But you have one caster. No, 2. You have 2 casters, and they're both really bad. So, but
And
yeah,
when your casters are all tied to drops,
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you can take a sub hero that's a caster, which would be great if like the Night Quester
Yeah.
was a wizard or a priest that gave you some options, but it's just a banner guy and
and
questing knight.
without being able to bring allies or whatnot, like you're struggling. You're struggling in
Yes.
the caster department for sure. But still, at the end of the day, the spell lore is very good. It's just making
I
sure
feel
you have
like
the casters.
even with a caster or 2 like Crondis, I think you look at these spell lores and you look at your manifestation lore, because I feel like if you take in Crondis, you're going Morbid Conjuration, and you're not going to spend your casting these spells. You're going to be trying to get Purple Sun out. You're going to try to get Soultide Grave Lords, or whatever
Nope.
it's called.
I do think
Gravetide.
Gravetide.
I do.
That's right,
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I do think Starfall will be cast though. I just think it's too good. It's just too good.
I agree. It will be cast in your opponent's turn.
Yeah, fair enough. Totally.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
you know what?
I see that.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Especially getting the +2 with Crondis if you are using Crondis. Okay, cool. Let's go into the prayers. They are all
Who knew that Stormcast was a prayer army?
I know, and they're all really good. Obviously, Translocation obviously is very good.
Yep. It's been good since the very beginning.
Yep, and it's still good, and it's a 4, so it's still pretty decent. The Blessed Weapons is scary good. Add 1 to attack characteristics. If you get a 12 up, you add 1 to everything wholly within 12 inches. It's pretty good. Now, granted, you have to make sure you're doing this in the right area. It's going to be hard to kind of set up, but if you nail this, like that could be really deadly.
I
It's
think
scary.
like when I think of list building, and I'm like, where do I fit my priest in my list? And then I'm like, okay, well, this is a 6-up.
It is. It's tough.
Okay, then how do I fit 2 priests? And then how do I get them next to places of arcane power when they're so freaking slow?
Yeah.
And
There's a solution to all of this because this book has everything. It's called Ionis, and just
True.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
That's
but
a good point. Ionis would be
priest
real
too.
good for this.
he's
Ionis
a
would be
priest
real
too.
good.
He's fast. He's tanky.
And
But
you're
then-
almost always getting this off with priest 2. You just chant something, you bank the points, chant it again. Now you're rocking and rolling.
yeah, and I don't know. I just look at him and I look at the big guys and I'm not super sold in this edition yet. I'm
That's fair.
still worried on because there's a lot of tools out there right now that can handle monsters, and when you dump points, valuable points in a big monster that can get taken out in a turn, that is a huge blow to an army.
True. and
Yes,
you're not wrong.
I agree. Thankfully, I think they do have some ways to help with this, but
Mhm.
like it's one of those things you have to build for it.
And then their unlimited one is obviously the heal, and you heal D3 for each if you get the 8-up. So, pretty good.
That's good. Yeah,
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I think you're always going to do something else, but
Yeah.
heals are free.
I mean, pretty good. All right, let's go into manifestations. These are all fine. Now, are you going to take these or are you going to take Morbid? Probably
I think
taking
honest-
Morbid, but
I think Honest Wargamer said it best, and I've used his philosophy to build my lists. If you have 4 or more casts, 3 to 4 or more casts, you take Morbid Conjuration. If you have 1 or 2 casts, you take the Incarnate. And I haven't seen faction-specific manifestations be as good as Morbid Conjuration. Like Purple Sun is just so good right now.
I would one up you on that. I think the OBR ones are really good.
You know what? That's fair. OBR's
think-
pretty
okay.
I
good.
think the
Yes.
OBR ones are really, really good.
But is the OBR ones better than the Purple Sun?
I think
is-
so.
Okay.
The
Lowering ward.
the
doing all that stuff.
lowering the ward one was an MVP in 2 of my games. And it's a 12-inch bubble that it lowers the ward for, and it is
Yep.
really good. It is really, really good. It shoots. It does melee. Like, it does literally everything. So there are some exclusions, but I do agree with you. Morbid is most likely the auto include.
My only counter to that is everybody has a save. Not everybody has a ward. So when you're looking at the value on an ability or like a spell, and Purple Sun will affect everybody, whereas your OBR spell will only affect certain armies. Granted, it seems to be a lot of wards
There's a lot of
in
ward.
this edition.
There's a lot of wards, and I think it's a
But-
lot easier to get out as well.
So to your point, I was just about to bring this up. Where I can see what you said about if you're a 3 or 4 cast, you bring Morbid. My thing is your caster even going to get Purple Sun out? Because 8 is really tough. So like OBR, I had that option of whether I wanted to go Morbid or the OBR ones, and I can't take the Morbid because I don't have any plus to casting in that army, unless I'm taking.
Well, that's why
Archon.
you got to play off your places of power.
Right,
And
right.
and you're wanting to cast this. Obviously, it's going to be a -1, +1 because
I'm
you're
still
gonna
not casting
cast
on
it
an
in
8 though, not an OBR.
in your opponent's turn. You can cast it on 8. And, it's only like what? It's like 40% or
It's
something
not good.
like that.
I'm not banking on that. If you know me and my dice rolls, I ain't banking on that. At the end of the day, I think the Stormcast ones are good. I think you would take Morbid. The one call out here is Everblade's Comment you can be kind of cheeky with because you can drop it in your opponent's turn. You can banish it on your turn and then drop it again on your turn. And you can do quite a bit of damage with that. So there is something to be said about Everblade's Comment, but again, it's going to be situational because it's good against castle armies.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I do want to say, while I did talk a bunch of crap on this manifestation, I do have it in my list merely because I'm only running a Lord Arcanum, just one, and
Yep.
he's my only caster, and I use the Dias Arcanum to get me a second
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah.
That Dias Arcana is actually pretty,
It's pretty
nice.
good. It's pretty good. Yeah. Cameron.
The vortex can get. I don't care about the vortex.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. I was gonna say, all right. Do you have anything? But we've already talked about them all. All right. Cool. I said, yeah. I said about the vortex. I guess the Deus Arcanum I could go up on.
It has its place.
It does. It does. It does. I guess.
Yeah.
I think most of my lists take Grandis or Karazai, so that's where I'm basing it off of. But like that's just me. And again, I'm not a really good. For the record, I am not a Stormcast player.
I feel like once we get to Warscrolls and I explain to you why I didn't take a dragon, because there's one key figure in this army that is the exact reason why you don't take.
Okay,
Dragon.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Right.
Speaking of Warscrolls, let's go into them. All right, so the first 4 I have on here are really good. At least in my opinion, they're really good. Knight Judicator I took out because, like, why would you waste a drop for this? Rip.
I feel like Celestin Prime's too much for what he does.
I
honestly.
will agree with you. He is really
I
expensive for what he
agree.
does.
So
I
I
just love
couldn't
him.
put him in A. I just feel like
I just love him. You're
there's
right.
so many
He's
things
probably like a
in
B
this
plus.
army that do what he does better. Yandrasta gets a
Yeah.
3d6 charge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Bastion Carthalos does, buffs the whole army. Has range shooting as well as he's a beat stick.
I could
he gets
probably
Lookout Sir.
drop
It's-
Celestin Prime and Gardas down to B plus. My issue with
That's
Gardas.
where I would put. I'd put him in a B.
Yeah.
My issue.
All my lists that I've made, I had to stop and not use Celestin Prime.
I just love him so much. He's my favorite.
I do
Warscroll.
too.
Well,
I
don't
love
worry.
the model.
Everybody
I love
loves
the
him. It's okay.
lore.
I know, man.
He's a great. He is the centerpiece. I don't care what dragon they throw out. I'll always be a Celestin Prime. Like he's the Stormcast.
I know. It sucks. I do agree with you. He probably can move down to B plus. Same with Gardas. Gardas is great, but you have to get him in combat, and when you do, he's very vulnerable. And I just
He
don't
he is great for one turn.
Correct. I agree with you 100%.
I think on this Knight Draconis is also a B. I don't think he's an A. He's just too much points for what he
Let's
does.
see, what, he's
I
280.
think if you
Yeah.
let me see, does he?
I feel like he's a 240. A 240, and then we can talk.
I think if
but
you're running,
remember-
if you're going Oops All Dragons, you're gonna include him anyway.
Oh wait, that's the dragon guy. I'm thinking a different guy.
Yeah, Knight Draconis is the
Yeah,
dragon
yeah.
guy.
No, not the dragon guy. Never mind.
I
He's
still
fine.
think he's good. If you're running all Oops All Dragons, I think he's good. I think he's
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
agreed. Yeah, he just buffs the dragons so well.
Yeah. I there's so many worse.
Yeah, no, I know there are. Knight Arcanum is obviously good. I like him. I think he's a good one to put in your list, especially with the amount of manifestations.
Well, he's the only one, foot wizard that you're getting after, the culling.
Sure.
So
Sure.
Hey, so it's
better
100. It's 120 points to get access to your spell lore.
I know.
that's not bad.
It's not
and
bad.
you put
It's
him on
not
the Deus Arcanum, and now he's a 2 cast.
Like that Deus Arcanum is good. I just wish that other manifestation lores weren't as good.
Correct.
Yes.
I agree with you
Yes.
on that.
The whole thing is, like,
days
you
where
take-
the days where you have to like, is this better than Morbid? Right? Like that's where we're at right now in this edition. Cool. Anything else on this list?
I wish Knight Judicator was better.
Oh, me too.
I
He's
think
so
I have
bad,
like
though.
I think I have like 5 of him in my house.
He's
And
just
that's
what
not.
they will
He's
say.
not worth the drop, man. He's just not worth it.
No, he's not, especially not at 160 points.
Correct. I
Nope.
agree with you. Yeah.
Too expensive.
All right. This one, I'm sure. And again, just so everyone knows, I'm not a Stormcast player, so these guys are gonna help me out here. The only one I had on this list that was decent was the Knight Relictor, which is obviously he's your priest dude, and he's
Yeah.
gonna be really good. The
He's
other
a
ones
priest.
were meh. You know.
Yeah.
I if I had to guess, James is gonna call me out on the Vexillor, but I think it's garbage. I think he's awful. I'm not paying 120 points for him. I'm sorry.
What does the Vexillor do?
He does the 3 to target control score.
No. You don't take him.
No.
He's not worth the drop.
Okay, good. At least we're on the same page there.
Because you had to think about, all right, this is an entirely This is an entire drop. Is this worth?
No,
No?
he actually can be the free drop. He's a lieutenant.
Yeah, he's the guy with the banner, right?
Yeah, yep. So
Yeah,
you can.
he's not worth a slot.
He's not worth a drop, but I still don't know if I take him.
I
for
mean, he doesn't
120
bring
points.
anything but control score.
Correct.
He's not good. He's too slow.
Yep, too slow. Yep, 100%.
Not worth the points. Your points are just too tight for that guy.
And wasn't this guy the guy that dropped out of the sky and did mortals?
All right, I've actually remembered this guy now, the Knight Vexillor, and I have a counter argument for all of you.
Oh my God! Here we go.
So the Knight Vexillor, his ability is any hero phase, you choose D3 Stormcast Eternals, and they get +3 to their control score, and they heal D3.
Yes, I get it.
Which means that if you have big guys, if you have dragons, any of your big heroes, your primes or anything like that, every hero phase you just gave him a free D3.
And
sure.
And he isn't a drop.
I'll say this: if he was a wizard,
he's not a drop.
If he was a wizard or a priest for 20 points or 30 points more, I'd take him.
Oh, 100%.
Sure.
But I just don't take him right now.
Not worth the points.
I agree.
You're so tight.
I can see, don't get me wrong, he's not in my list, but I can see someone taking him if you're going like big monsters.
Sure. I guess.
I think.
Let's see if he keeps up with them. Like, that's the problem, right? He's going to be so far behind.
It's a 12-inch aura.
Yeah.
It's not like you want him in there. It's not like you want him in combat.
I just don't know. I just think I pass on him.
I think the Lord Relictor is standout in like the whole
Knight Relictor.
Like a little foot priest guy who you can stand next to a place of power and pump out ritual points is.
I think you'll see. I think you see him in most lists. I do think you see Knight Relictor in most lists.
Agreed.
I
don't like the Night Quest. I don't like the Night Quest.
I don't either. I'm not a big fan on him. And Lord Aquilor is meh. It's okay.
Because his thing is you choose a point and you're stronger on that point, or you get more objective on that point. Sure. Objective control.
It's like it's just bad.
The Aquilor, if you're running heavy Paladors, I could see it maybe, but meh. No. Are you running the Lord Aquilor in your Palador list?
I am not.
Okay, cool. That's all I needed to know. Perfect.
There's better options.
Cool. Next list we got. Oh man, how the Lord Celestin has dropped. That's just a pass. Bastion is amazing. I don't know if I call him an A because he's still really slow, but that dude hits like a truck and is tough to kill.
Bastion is amazing in this.
Bastion is amazing.
He is an A plus, maybe an S. Like I would take if I could.
Is he an auto include? Like we're talking like S is like auto include.
So
all right.
Good.
I want to tell you about my list.
Okay.
My list is Bastion, Yndrasta,
and a bunch of prosecutors.
Yep.
And 2 groups of prosecutors.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You know what my list is? Bastion, Yndrasta, and a bunch of Paladors.
Okay, all right. Well then, you know what?
And it's just first turn.
You guys know it better than I do.
Oh no, Bastion's whole thing is 3 infantry units get a free move at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 2-drop, and guess what? Yndrasta is an infantry. Celestin Prime is an infantry. Prosecutors are an infantry. And they all get a free 12-inch move at the beginning of the game and 3d6 charge at the beginning.
All right, well, I'll move him up to A+, but I'm not moving him S tier. I don't know if he's going to be an auto-include.
If you're not auto-including him, I seriously question your Stormcast ability.
You think every list is going to have Bastion?
I won't say he's an auto-include, but he is very good.
For his points, he is a monster.
For 270, right? Tzeentch is going to mortal wound this bitch off the board.
Yeah.
If they can see him, they got to get within 12 because he's going to have lookout, sir.
No, well, is it still visible though? He's still visible.
Yeah, you can still spell him off.
You can still spell him off. Like I think Lumineth, I think Tzeentch. I just think a lot of these armies are just going to mortal wound him off. Like
I would say not before he gets to do something. Like you can put him in the heavens. You can drop him with something.
Yeah, he's still tanky enough to survive a turn.
All right.
He has a 5-up ward.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. This dude slaps, man. This dude slaps in combat. This guy's insane.
And like everything else on this war scroll, you should just ignore. The
Yeah.
Lord Celestin, both times terrible.
Yeah.
I don't even know why you gave Celestin on Dracoth a B+. He doesn't exist anymore.
let me
Just
see
throw
where-
him in the
let me-
garbage bin.
Lord
The
Celestin,
Lord
okay.
Imperatant, garbage bin.
I like Lord Imperatant just because of the memes of it, but that's why
I mean,
I
it
have
is
him.
worse than what it was.
Oh, 100% worse. But now you
I
can
think-
affect multiple people.
I think I
And
took Lord
Is he
Celestin.
worth the drop? That's all I got to say. Is he worth the drop?
Oh, nothing's worth a drop in this.
No, just
this shit.
right to the bin.
I mean, I think Lord Celestin on Dracoth isn't terrible, but you're probably right. You're not taking him over something else. Like, he's a B+. I don't know if he's a C. I don't know if I'd call him that. Like, he's still...
Every one of these little heroes that you just wish you could have to support, right in the bin.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth a drop.
Yeah. All right,
No,
well, you guys
no,
sold
no,
me
no.
on. You sold me on Bastion, so.
Bastion's great. I'm still in a camp that there are lists that you can do where being 4 or 5 drop just doesn't matter. Because
I
you just
know.
go ahead and you like the Lord Imperatant. You just go ahead and go, I'm going to stick him, I don't know, in space. I don't
So
care where
bad,
you
though.
are. And I'm just going to drop everything a little bit closer.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if I go first or last.
Sure, I still am not taking him.
I'm just saying
that's
he's
why.
fun.
That's why you're telling us about him. That's why you're justifying it, is because that was your favorite unit.
Yeah. I think he has play. I'm not going to take him. I think he has play.
Oh, Cameron. All right. Next. This is all A's, A+ here.
Oh man, a priest that's even better than the previous priest we said that was amazing for only 10
Lord
points
Relictor
more.
is amazing.
Yeah, I like the Lord Relector. The Lord Variant, I think, is.
But
just
Lord
silly
Variant's good,
priest.
but you're probably still taking the Lord Relictor, right?
Yeah,
you're probably taking
I
that
know.
over that,
So
right?
that's why I don't put him at an A,
Right.
because I just have a better option.
That's fair. That's fair.
Neve is
I think Neve's good.
interesting. I don't
I
know
agree.
what to do with her.
She
because
is interesting.
I'm so tight on points.
It is true.
She's 360 for her whole little group
She
there.
is good though. She slaps and she can get out of combat real easy.
I think she is absolutely amazing in every list that isn't Stormcast.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair. That's
Yes.
fair. Okay.
Because what she does, you just have the capability of doing with.
You do get
Most of your
low.
other
You get
people.
Lorai, which is another caster, which is helpful, right?
But
Yeah.
it's not in your spell lore. She doesn't have the Stormcast keyword, so what is
Yeah.
she going to cast? The manifestations.
That's still good though. That's still one less thing you have to worry about.
To be fair, you're only going to be casting manifestations anyways.
I don't know. I think their spell lord's not that bad. Starfall, I think, is really good. She's okay. I can see people taking her. Maybe not A+, maybe A-. I
Yeah,
think she's
like-
still good.
There's a play. It's hard with the lists that we have to
Points
look for a
heavy.
spot. Like she has some.
Yeah. She's
some
got to.
great
She's got to make a
things.
spot. She's got to make a spot.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
She's fighting an uphill battle.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Would you rather take Neve and all of her group or a Celestin Prime?
Neither.
Neve.
I'd take Andrasta.
There you go. That's the correct answer.
All right, moving on. Speaking of Andrasta, she is an A in my list. She's really good.
She's so great.
And this is her existence is my one reason why I say you have to be careful with bringing monsters, because she will one slap a monster right off the table.
Yep.
And any monster you bring, you know that your Stormcast player is going to be looking to put Andrasta right next to him. With that 3d6 charge, she's going to get in.
12-inch move, 3d6 charge. She's not that big of a base size. She's going to get where she wants to go.
Yep. And so she's going to be into your monster, and she's going to eat it. She can put, if things go her way, she can put down a Mega Gargant in one turn of fighting. I mean, it is
So
it is
my
ridiculous.
only issue with Andrasta is she doesn't have any way to get. As far as I know, she doesn't have any way to get fight first, and there are so many porcupine units that it
But you're not sending her into those.
especially with monsters, right? There's a lot of monsters that fight first or can get fight first.
Mostly if they charge.
Yeah.
I'm just
Most of the
saying.
ones
Outside of
I'm
Yeah.
sure I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that's my only downside. That's like why I don't rank her S tiers, because she still is only 8 wounds, and if she goes into a porcupine unit, like she's just gonna get annihilated. So you have to be very
But-
careful about how you are using her.
I've seen very few porcupine units who are the prime reason you take something. Like even when you look at the fight last, like in FEC, which is Usharon, he has to beat the control score, and I think her control score is 5.
Yeah.
2.
So
It's 2.
oh, it's 2.
Oh, it's
so
2?
He might be the one.
There's I don't know, James. There's a lot of fight first and fight last stuff out there. I just that's the only.
Oh no, she can't take fight first. That's right.
That's the only reason I don't rank her S tiers because she you have to be very careful about how you use her. She is very good. There's no question about it. She
I'm
will
just
literally take out monsters, but you just have to be very careful.
Bloodthirsters, Scarbrand.
Oh yeah, you take her and then you watch any corn player cry.
Yeah.
Techless. I mean, I just would love to throw her into Techless.
Yes.
Just like all of these big
Nagash, all these
Oh, yeah, yeah.
centerpieces, Archaon, like, oh man.
She just walks in there with her 340 points and goes, "I'm gonna eat you today."
And the fact that you can, you can't drop her though, can you? No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. What's stopping you from dropping her? You have a 3d6 charge.
3d6 charge. You could drop her out of the
Oh
heavens.
no, yeah. For storms,
You can shoot and then charge.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And
thinking.
you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to shoot with her.
So
She
yeah.
is
So storm,
got a
yeah, you
great
drop.
shot.
Yeah, that's the. I'm sorry, but that attack is never going off. I'm just saying. One attack is never going off.
Oh yeah, never plan for it. But if it does,
I mean, I played Erica like 3 times now, and there's been like one time the 2s Marathi thing went off. Like it just never goes off. Okay.
I
Other
just think
than
of-
Andrasta,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
else? I think everything else on here is good. Again, we can talk about
So-
Karazai.
Right.
I think Karazai is better than Krondys, in my opinion, just because this thing will eat infantry. And right now, infantry is very heavy. Maybe cavalry is probably more heavy, but this thing will literally eat any infantry. Like, it'll just remove
I
them.
keep seeing other people taking the brother though, Krondys, just because he's a
Yeah.
spellcaster.
I
You
get
need-
it,
and
but
spellcasting is so hard in
Dude.
this army.
I don't know, man. I think Karazai has a spot. I would take... If
I-
I was playing, I'm probably taking Karazai over Krondys. I think this thing is... this
And
thing
then I
will
come back
eat
to the same point
infantry.
of, does he got fight first? Because Yandrasta will eat him.
But he does have -1 to the attack.
Yeah,
attack
it's pretty
characteristic.
good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. It does matter for Andrasta. 100% it matters.
Like I agree. I love Karazai. He's the one that I own. I want to play him. I'm going to play him if I ever get a chance to. But I think more people are going to be taking Krondys just because of how good manifestations are,
I
and
don't
how
know,
good
man.
his personal spell is.
I'm with Warhammer Weekly. I think they both liked Karazai more than Krondys. I think just Karazai is it's gonna just pick up units and they're just gonna be gone.
I think Vandus has Plague too. I don't think he's like a bad choice in certain lists.
He just competes with a lot of options. That's what that was my
Yeah,
problem.
and I think he's unique, so he doesn't get any of the
Correct.
specialty goodness that you would really want on a hero of that type.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's a decent beat stick.
Yeah.
He upgrades control scores, which is what the army needs. So
Again, like this list that I have up right now, like they're all A's, but it's like you're only gonna put one of them in, right? Maybe
Right,
two.
so
you
you're
might
putting it-
take Karazai and Andrasta, but that's already like 1,000 points to your army, right? Like you're probably gonna take one of these. They're all decent, but
they're expensive.
they're all expensive, right? So you have to kind of pick one of them.
It's another thing while we're on this one, is I am finally happy that the Drake Sworn Templar is actually a useful model now.
Yeah, it
I can
slaps,
now-
dude. That Star Drake draws does damage. If you
I can now take it off my shelf and not feel bad, and I can feel like it will actually do something.
I like the Drake Sworn Templar. Again, it's just he's competing with so many different options at that price, right?
Agree.
And Yandrasta will eat him.
Oh, 100%. 150%. This Jandrasta will murderize this poor dragon. But if I can run away from Yandrasta as fast as I can, he might be able to kill something
Before he goes down.
before he goes down.
All right, cool. So we talked about a lot of the expensive stuff. This is also another, like, I think Stormcast has a lot of options that are decent. It's just trying to figure out what you want to take because you're
They
not
have
gonna...
a lot of big, expensive
They do.
models.
They do. Krondys 540, Lord Selson and Stardrake 490, Ionis 420, but they're all really good. But you just have to figure out what you want to take because you're only going to be taking like one or two of these, right? So
Yeah.
um,
I still say Ionis Cryptborn is probably one of the best
I think
models
he's
in this,
amazing.
and like in
I
this
think
book.
his Soul Burn is better than it was previous.
Agreed.
He's a 2 priest. He's got a great prayer. Like, I think Ionis is solid. I just think that model is solid.
Just it's that soul burn is going to be the bane of so many people.
Yeah, it's really
and
good.
They're not going to expect it, and it's going to murderize them.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he just slaps.
He does. He still hits like a truck.
Yeah.
James, what are
And
your
guess
thoughts?
He's one of the few double priests in the game.
Yeah.
Like I've said, so I do think he's got play. I'm not gonna, the priest lore in this faction is really good. But then I'm like, why wouldn't I just take a Lord Relector and just stick him next to a place of power, pump up stuff? Like, because this guy, every time I look at a big model, I'm just like, man, I wonder if Yndrasta could kill them in one turn. And
The thing is, not everybody has the Yndrasta.
right, but I'm gonna be running her. So
I mean, I guess you're biased towards that. I do still think Ionis is a good drop.
I think he's good. Yeah, I think he's a very solid model.
Yeah. For 420, I can easily put him in my list.
Yeah, but I mean, who do you run with him? Is is he just his own beat stick, or does he bring you want him to be there to buff as well?
I don't think he
Right.
needs anything crazy.
Because
The Lightning Tempest and the Soul Burn is all you need. That Soul Burn is really good. It's really, really good.
And he has the capability of doing that +1 to the attack characteristic, so you can just run him behind things until he's needed.
And keep in mind, Soul Burn happens every turn. It's not just
I
rounds.
feel like when you have a big model like this, the idea of running him behind to buff something else up is usually like a fallacy that we try to present ourselves, because then you have like this thing in front of 400 points of your army that you're hoping to get this one buff off of, and it just feels like he needs to be up there slapping face. And if he can buff himself with his prayers or use the prayers to debuff people he's hitting into, and it makes it worth those points, sure. But I find very few big pieces outside of maybe Techless where I'm like, he's worth his points when a little foot hero behind that unit would not just do that job and always be with them, and I don't have to worry about that point.
For me, if I'm running Ionis, he's got good movement. I'm putting him in combat. Like I'm using all 420 points, and if he gets killed, he gets killed. But hopefully, I can do as much damage as I can in the beginning.
I think his big thing is that you can do cover fire with him.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a 10-inch range though. It's not great.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop within 9 anyways.
Fair. That's fair. Totally fair. Okay, getting rid of Ionis. Krondys obviously is going to be in a lot of lists. The +2 to cast is really hard to find. It really is.
Yeah.
You're not going to find that in many lists. It's really going to be hard.
And he's
to
a double
dispel.
caster as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Like.
Yep.
She's good. She's just good. Lord Selson on Stardrake, again, we were just talking about it. 490. Great option, but it's again, where are you going to put him versus the other options, right?
Right.
Are you taking a Selson on
Krondys.
Stardrake, or are you taking Krondys? I'm taking Krondys.
And most people are just going to choose Krondys.
Exactly, and that's where I think the internal balance is bad. Is because you got to put them up against. Are you taking this or Yndrasta? Are you taking this or?
There's just too many options.
Right, I agree. 100%, absolutely.
What you do is you run a tournament that says no one's allowed any named characters, and then they'll come in and
they'll see play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had Lord Vigilant as an A. What was her once per battle? I don't remember. Where is she?
OPB ability is very good.
It's the once per battle, but I don't remember what it was. Just looking.
Now I'm gonna have to look this up.
I know.
Yeah, I'm looking as well.
Is this the
Oh, Lord,
on the
once per
Griftstalker?
battle. So pick a Ruination Chamber, obviously Ruination Chamber. This unit can invite 2 fight abilities and then strikes last. So it's a once per battle, but you don't have to roll anything. They just get to fight twice, which is good for Ruination. Ruinations, they hit like a truck.
Yeah.
So they're pretty good. Again, you're only going to take this in a heavy Ruination Chamber.
Yeah,
Like if you're running Reclusions, you're probably going to run Lord Vigilant.
yeah, reinforced.
The
You
Reclusions
run
hit
one
like
of
a truck.
him.
They
Yeah,
do hit.
I agree. Like if you're doing that specific play, then I can see it.
Yeah.
You won't see them anywhere near anything else, though.
I agree, 100%. Yep. Cool. All right. We'll move on to the non-hero stuff.
Before we go to the next one, I
Oh,
will
yep.
be right back.
Okay, yeah, you're good. All right, let's start
Headphones are
with
dying.
the hero phase, or the non-hero Warscrolls. Sorry. So these
Okay.
are all fine. Again, I had Neve's companion just because if you're going to take Neve, you're obviously going to take that. The best one I have on here is Vindictors. Those are my favorite at 110 points.
Yeah.
They are
The Porcupine
great.
unit.
Yep, they are great objective holders.
And so, and I have one in my list. I have a reinforced unit because, like I said, there's a lot of battle plans that are just 5 points for your home objective to your opponent, and so I want something that's going to stick around on it.
Fair.
And I think those guys do it really well with just a tiny bit of support. And you can reinforce them, and it's only 220 points in an army.
It's so good. It's so good.
That-
For 220,
yeah,
they're great objective holders. Great.
Yeah. So yeah, I like them.
Liberators
I
are
really
just
like them
fine.
right now.
Liberators are fine. They're not
Yeah.
anything crazy. They're just fine.
I'm just like, when I look at these other things, the Vanquishers and the Liberators, the things you want up there pushing objectives, I'm just like, the Cav's better.
Yeah.
The Dragons are better at it. They're faster. They're,
I mean, you can't go wrong with Vindictors at 110 points, though. They're
no,
really good.
no, it's too good.
Yeah.
And then I would also say, I could have been a buyer on the Aether Wings just because I'm running so much Vanguard, but my problem is Gryph-hounds are 10 points cheaper.
And they do the same role.
Yeah, the same thing.
Okay, fair enough.
And they're like double the wounds.
I think the only time... Well, let's see. Let's go to the next one. Gryph-hounds. So, I had Gryph-hounds at a B+. So, I mean, it kind of depends. I think the Aether Wings give you a bonus to shooting, right? Isn't that what they do?
Yeah, they give you a +1 if a model is within 9 inches.
Sure. So, I mean, it kind of depends on your list. Gryph-hounds or Aether Wings are 10-point difference. You can use either one of them.
So the thing is, like, I think you want one of these because
I agree.
Because you're so points heavy.
Well, and you want those easy battle tactics and objectives, right? So, because like, the opponent's obviously not going to put a lot into them because why would you? So you can kind of keep them kind of safe, especially with terrain and stuff. So they're pretty good. I definitely agree with you. Like they're 80, 90 points. I definitely see adding one of them.
Well, and then with the Aether Wings, for my specific list, because they have the Vanguard keyword, I can teleport them.
Right, sure.
And so that is also nice, but I still went with Gryph-hounds because screens, are at a premium in this edition.
Yeah.
And Gryph-hounds being able to go fast, get battle tactics, act as a screen is just for 80 points in this army is
pretty good.
Is
pretty
gold.
Good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Everything else on here I had is pretty good. Annihilators are pretty good. Grand Hammers are pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're going that route, right? Obviously, if you're going Annihilators or Grand Hammers, you're probably going to put a little bit more into that.
Yeah. So I'm running one unit of Grand Hammers just to drop in somewhere.
Is it reinforced?
No, not reinforced.
Just one. Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
They do a bunch of mortal wounds. If you place them right. And the thing is with the shields, I look at 180 points, and yes, it's a 2-up save, but I can get 10 Vindictors for 220. And if I'm wanting something to hold an objective or be my block, I would just rather spend the 220 points for Vindictors than 180 for Annihilators.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah. Hello, Cameron.
The Grand Hammers also give you strike first potentially. So
Yeah, potentially. I just think, obviously, Annihilators are going to be more of your anvil. Grand Hammers are going to be more of your damage dealers, depending on what you need, right?
yeah,
I agree. I think most Stormcasts will have one of these just because it's nice utility.
You're talking about Annihilators?
Yes.
yeah. Grand Hammers versus Shields.
Grand Hammers are too expensive.
See,
You think so?
40
I
points. It's a lot.
So,
It's a lot.
I go, yeah.
I think point for point statistically, I think somebody said that they are the most damage output in the game.
My only worry is that it's 3 models,
Yeah,
and like that's always been a worry. Like in 3rd edition, like Annihilators, both versions of them, they come down, they either fail and then they die, they fail and do something, or they come down, they do something, or they fail and then they just die the next turn.
yeah.
That's
And
fair.
I think
It's
a lot.
hard.
I
It's
think
hard.
how I'm gonna play.
So go ahead, James.
I was gonna say the way I'm gonna play the Grand Hammers, I keep them up in the heavens at least 2 turns.
Bring it
I
down
think these
turn
are
3.
a 3 or 4 turn dropper.
Yeah, that's fair.
After things have started to thin out and I can start to pressure back objectives, I can drop 220 points. It won't die to whatever sitting on the home objective, and then that creates this moment. If it fails, it happens. If it doesn't, I've got this turn 3 pressure point that can just swing the whole game, and because they've got enough damage output to really wreck something.
I agree with you. That's not my play style. Just because I don't like playing things which I don't know that I can. Like, I don't like playing things which relies on me rolling better than average.
That's totally me in a nutshell, man. That's why I gotta play anything that just like Zinch. Just give me the dice. Just give me the dice.
Yeah. And like the other thing that I have a problem with is in a game system that we now have cover fire in, you can come down and then they can shoot you, or you can come down and then they just redeploy away.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
fair.
now you're
I mean,
your 9 inch becomes a
yeah.
10
Well,
to 12.
you can't redeploy outside of 9.
Yeah, you can.
Is
Yeah,
it
you can.
12? Oh, it's 12 inch for redeploy now.
No,
No,
anywhere.
There's no
You
movement.
can just redeploy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can just
And that's
redeploy
why
anywhere.
that's why I think these units like the Annihilators, they come down, they do that thing, they do that damage, and then your opponent goes, "Wow, I really don't want those guys specifically
So
to
I'm
be
just
able to
gonna
get me.
redeploy.
I'm going to redeploy, and now it's a 10 to 15 inch charge,
That's fair. That's fair.
and then you're never going to get your moment."
I would say though that you have to be careful with the smaller objectives because you could redeploy yourself off an objective if you're trying to stop
Yeah,
charge like that.
I stay on the objective, my unit, and then you come down. You're 9 inches away. It's a smaller objective, so there's less chance that you'll be on the objective. And then I'm too far away for you to do a movement, so you're not on the objective.
I think it's very situational. I do see this, the case where you would take Grand Hammers or Annihilators. I do think Annihilators are really good. They're really hard to shift. The 2-up save is really tough.
I think the base Annihilators with the shields are actually pretty good, just because of how cheap they are comparatively.
Yeah.
And just
Can you try to imagine removing 6 of those guys? Like, good luck.
I'm just thinking like they're slow.
Yeah,
So
you do what you want is that 3rd turn I come down.
Yeah.
And like, good luck trying to remove these. Like, have fun.
Or
and if you are trying to remove these, that means something else is not being targeted.
Or you just do the greatest mind play where you just have 1 or 2 Annihilator units, you put them on the side of the board, and then you just remind your opponent, I have these.
That's what I feel. I feel like that with my Annihilators and Grand Hammers. That's my piece on the side of the table.
Yeah.
I have those.
And you know what? That's a completely legitimate strategy, and good on you for doing that.
All right, let's move into the Dracothian Guard. These are all good in their own ways. Obviously, we haven't on this list right now. We don't have Fulminators. I do think they are still the best. But each one of them has their own purpose. Concussors are really good for mortal wounds. Desolators are good infantry killers. Before we move on, anything on Concussors or Desolators?
Huh.
I would say concussors and fulminators are interchangeable, and I say this because damage seems to be down from the games that I've played this edition,
It is
and
for
so
sure.
I find a lot of stuff getting tied in, and so fulminators don't have retreat and charge, so they might. There's a good chance they get stuck in combat for more than one turn, and if that happens, I think concussors come out on top in that situation.
Agreed. I would agree with you on that. I think it depends on what fulminators charge, but that +1 to charge is really good.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
good.
But the thing is, like, I can't take these over prelators, so.
I'll say this: I'm not taking Tempestors. Rip. I think they're too swingy. I think out of all the Dracothian Guard, I think they're the worst. So.
Yeah. You got better shooting options.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
It's just
100%.
you just don't get enough shots because it's only 2 models.
And they're 210 points. I'm taking another Dracothian Guard over that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like they're just too many points. These guys are really good for rushing in, dealing a decent bit of damage, and then staying there and punishing your opponent because they're tanky and they punish your opponent for attacking them.
Yeah.
Because they have 6s to wound. Yeah. 6s to on my save do damage to you.
Yeah.
Now, prosecutors. I'm on board. I love these guys. These guys are great. I wish I had an entire army of prosecutors because I think they're real good.
I love
At
them.
140 points, I think they're really good. I do think they're really good.
I'm a hard pass here, and I think they're bad.
James,
I kind of agree with you, but I'm going to be running. I'm going to be running these guys like crazy.
You 100%. If you like the model, if you want to have fun, go ahead.
3 attacks
but
each.
If I'm going to be doing something with battle tactics, I'm going to be using Gryph-hounds. It's 80 points for 2 units of Gryph-hounds.
I love these guys, man. I really like.
For 160 points, I get 2 units of Gryph-hounds, which is only 20 points more than these guys for 1 unit. And I don't think these guys take an objective.
Prosecutors are doing way more damage. They're doing way more damage.
I don't think they take an objective, even though with their 3d6 charge. What are they going to kill? 20 clan rats?
No. I've already told you this. You take Bastion, and you take 2 units of reinforced prosecutors in Yandrasta, and you just yeet those guys forward.
Man.
You could do, there's a better solution. Instead of doing it with them, do it with the Paladors. You reinforce unit of Paladors, you run them across the board, and you just yeet them into something.
Fair.
Another thing is, like, I actually think these guys have some play at MSU dropping them down from the sky. Because for 140 points, you drop them down from the sky. It's 4 attacks per unit. And it's 3s, -1 D3 just from range. And then you're most likely going to be able to get into combat with them.
Yeah, 3d6.
Like, and
they're not.
They're pretty cheap.
And they're pretty good. 3 attacks, 3s, -1 rend, 1 damage, and you charge her +1.
They're not bad.
I think
at all.
Good. I really do.
I don't think you should build your army's backbone on these guys.
The 2-inch coherency thing is really good right now. Like, I don't think people understand, like you can screen out really well with these guys too. I don't know. I like them. I like prosecutors.
You could screen better with a unit of Gryph-hounds, and you could do battle tactics the same with Gryph-hounds.
Yeah, but Gryph-hounds don't do crap for damage.
A reinforced
and you only spend 80 points for your Gryph-hound.
That's fair. I mean, you're not wrong on that.
Dropping down 6 prosecutors, like, you can cover like nearly half the map with that screen.
I also think, like, for 140 points, I just think they're solid. They're just really solid for what they do.
Their points, I don't think they're bad.
Yeah, I like them.
For their points, I think they're a trap, and you can take them.
We'll agree to disagree. Praetors are fine. They're fine.
Praetors are the secret sauce of a lot of things.
Sure. I think they're fine.
Those are the ones that give a ward, right?
Yep, yeah, they can give all of those big, nasty dragon guys a 5-up ward.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really
garbage
good.
Too.
Yeah, it's really good.
They're never going to keep up with a dragon.
You drop them down.
Sure.
They'll be out of range, or
they're really 9 inches away. You can charge with the dragon, and still have them in range. I think one
I think
one
unit.
unit of them?
I think 1 unit. If you're running like heavy, like if you're running Krondish or Karazai, I would run 1 of these probably.
Yeah, Karazai with 1 unit of Praetors. Karazai is going to be a real pain in the tuchus.
Yeah, it's gonna be real hard to get rid of.
He's gonna outstrip those guys so fast.
Yeah.
You're not here for the Praetors to be in combat. Don't
But
get me wrong.
Kronda's in combat.
Yeah, and Kronus can go ahead and be in combat. There's going to
But
be
they
these
have to keep
Praetors
up with them.
just running in the background.
Spend all these resources just to try.
Yeah,
to
fair.
Trail
That's
towards
fair.
Sunrise.
Let me ask you this: would you have Praetors, or would you have another thing of Vigilers?
Ooh,
Or no, sorry, not Vigilers, Vindictors. Sorry, I'm probably taking Vindictors. I'll be honest. Vindictors are just so good.
Vindictors are only 110 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
At
take
150
1
points.
unit of Praetors.
I think it depends on your list, but I can see Praetors in a list. That's fine.
It's not going in my list.
If well, yeah, you have to take one of the big dragons.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you're taking a big dragon, maybe.
Yeah,
But I still
anything
fight
else,
that are
no.
going to have difficulty keeping up with them.
Sure. Stormjet Guard, they're fine. Their rampages is really good, but they're fine.
Yeah. They're pretty expensive, but they're pretty good.
They are pretty good. To be able to get behind the screen and stuff and get rid of stuff is really good.
The sixes to save, doing more wounds back. Like it's really good.
Yeah, they're just really good. Are they better than what they were in 3rd edition? Probably not, but
No.
they're not bad. They're fine. Moving on. Stormstrike chariots. I think these are actually pretty good.
I love these guys.
I think these are pretty good. I think out of all the chariots I've seen so far, and I've only done order, these are the best chariots. I think they're really good.
All right. I think this is like one of the best chariots in the game, which is saying something because I don't think any chariot is good.
It is a great chariot that I will never play.
I could see a person running one of these guys.
Yeah, I can see one.
Never do more than one.
You're never doing more than one of these.
And then you just rush in there. You hope you survive, and then you just blast things and get.
I agree 100% with Joel. I will paint one and sit it on my shelf, and I will only ever do one.
To James's point, for 170 points, it's real hard to put this in, but these are pretty good chariots.
I think they have play.
I am curious on what Paladors you're running. You're not running the Javelins, right?
Oh yeah, the javelins are the ones. So good. So good.
Okay, you gotta sell me on them.
Both of them are good.
Would you like me to sell? Okay, let me.
Because
let
the
me set the
Javelins to
stage
me
for you.
don't seem good
I'll
at
give
all.
this to you, James, because I love them as well.
They are. Okay, so you get your fulminators, your concussors. They're 2 models, same exact stat line as these guys. 5 wounds each, 3 up save. They get 3 models each. So already you get for the same point cost, you get 5 extra wounds on a 3 up save.
Okay, I'm with you on as far as the defense. I'm good. Their
so now we've
shooting
got-
range or their shooting stuff is garbage.
So their shooting is twice. They shoot twice, so you can run them as well. So turn 1, you can shoot them up the board with an all-out with your 6.
Yeah, but their
to
shooting
run.
is garbage. I don't care if you're shooting twice or not. It's garbage shooting.
You can give them all out attack.
I
good
am not,
volume of
I am
shots.
not giving these guys all attack with the garbage shooting they have.
6 of them shooting across the board, shooting, charging in. They get to shoot again, then they get to fight, and then you can retreat with them as well. And they do the whole thing over again.
But look at their attack profiles. These are just bad.
They're going to do more damage than your concussors and your fulminators.
No way.
And yeah,
no way.
And you're going to have.
I can see him doing more damage.
And you're going to have more wounds to basically pin your opponent into the back of the board with them.
All right.
And
well,
you just keep sitting.
I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post.
Retreat and charge is how good. How good is retreat and charge?
Especially with a 14-inch movement.
Okay, keep in mind if you retreat with this, you're still taking the damage.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not gonna die. I have 5 wounds.
Okay, I'm just
5
saying.
wounds.
I'm taking fulminators over these guys like any day of the week. I don't think these guys are good. If they had more attacks per profile, then sure, but they don't. They're garbage attacks.
You're not. So they shoot twice.
Okay, they shoot twice on garbage attacks. On garbage attacks, their attacks are not good.
So the volume is going to be better than the tiny bits of attacks that you get on your fulminators. And volume of dice is always
so
better
let's just do. So you're taking. How many of these are you taking? 10? Or no, 6. You said 6, right? They're 3 each.
So you got 4 Fulminators versus 6. So you've got 2 whole extra models.
Okay. So we're doing 6 Paladors, right? That's how many come in in a reinforced, right? 6 Paladors. That's 12 attacks at 4s, 4s, 1/1. Pretty
Plus
garbage.
1 because the champion.
Okay, now you double that. It's still garbage. Okay, now we're taking 6, so 12 attacks at 3s, 3s, -1/2 damage. Sure, at 12-inch range, you might get some of these in, right? These are also 230 points. Actually, sorry, they're 460 points. I'm sorry, I'm taking anything else but these.
Oh no.
I don't think these guys are good. If they had more attacks, I would be okay with it, but they just don't. If they get any debuffs, on these guys, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, -1 to attack would be worse. Like, they're just not good.
Don't forget you could take Vigilers, give them +1 to hit for free on a unit, as long as they shoot it first.
At 10-inch, 12-inch range? I'm sorry.
You can take Finest Hour, so then they're 1s to hit, 1s to wound, or it's 3s to 3s then, instead of 4s and 4s that you're talking about. +1 for attacks from.
You're putting a lot into this 460 point pack.
It's 460, but it's a 460 point unit that does work, and it's gonna. Because remember, the damage is down across the game.
I agree with you.
These guys,
but I still think Fulminators do more damage.
And they're going to pin your opponent in the back of the board turn 1.
I don't know.
I
like the run
see
and charge,
one unit of reinforce these guys, especially with the Finest Hour. I think Finest Hour makes them.
I agree with you on that. I will not disagree that these guys are going to be tough to kill. I just think they're garbage damage.
They get the Star Strike Javelin in combat too. So you get both shooting profiles at shooting, and then you charge.
One attack on 3s. Let me tell you, it's real good.
I mean, you get it twice, so it's 2 attacks on 3s.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I guess we'll agree to disagree. I am not a fan of the javelins.
Also, don't forget I'm taking these guys in my general's regiment, so I'm making them honor guard.
Sure.
So I'm getting +1 rend on the charge.
I do think once we do the GHB show, I think the honor guard thing is going to fall off real quick. I think many people are going to start going way less in their general's regiment to prevent that. But
I already do that. Only 1 unit.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So I don't know how useful the +1 is, but I get what you're saying. If it was me though, I'm still running Fulminators.
This is the way that I see them, especially with the Javelin guys. It's 460 points, and it's fairly easy to make it. What is that? 12 attacks at 2s, -1, 2, and then we have what is that? 6 times 2, 12, 13, 26 attacks at 3s, -1, 1, and then we go into melee, and which is what is that? Another 18 attacks at it'll probably be 4s, 2s to maybe 3s, 2s at -1, 1, and then another 7 attacks at 2s, -1, 2. It's just a massive volume of attacks.
You're putting a
lot
lot
of them
into that unit, though.
What am I putting into that unit? I'm doing the Finest Hour.
Would you rather put all of the things that you're going to put into the Paladors into Fulminators? I'm taking Fulminators still. They're going to do more damage. If you're going to buff...
They're not going to do more damage.
They're not going to do more
damage.
damage.
There's a whole extra model here.
Yeah, but Fulminators have more attacks, just base.
They do, but that's why there's a whole extra model here.
Let's see, because what was that? The Fulminators will have
3 attacks, 3s.
A total of 6 attacks with the glaive, and a total. We're reinforcing them.
Yes.
So that's 12 attacks with the glaives, and then 12.
That
attacks
right
with
there,
the claws.
I think, is already more damage, especially on the charge.
Well, you're on the charge, but I get my attacks all the time because I can retreat charge.
Sure.
My thing is that they're 14 plus run movement away.
I agree with you on that. They're very fast. The run and charge, run and shoot is really good. There's no denying.
That's their selling point to me.
So I run them across the board, buffed up, slam them into you turn 1, kill a bunch. So I kill your screens with the first line of shooting, charge into everything in the back line with the second line.
I think they're just good priority targets. Like,
sure,
they can choose what they're going to be fighting with. And
that's the key with this whole army. I have Yndrasta for my monsters. I got my Palandors to slam into your your infantry. I've got my Bastion
I
card.
think it comes down to, like, again, we're talking about this and we're putting a lot into this, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
whether you run Paladors or Fulminators, they're doing relatively the same job, right? I think
Right.
Paladors are going to be much quicker. It just depends on what you're looking for, right? I think if I want something that's going to do a lot of damage, I'm probably taking Fulminators. However, something that run and shoots and run and charges and can get down the board real quick, Paladors are obviously better, and there's no question, right? It just kind of depends on what you want in your list, right? I could actually see you using Paladors and Fulminators, right? I could see you running one of each. You've sold me a little bit on the Paladors. I still think from a damage perspective, I'm running Fulminators, and that's just where I'm going. I think the hand axes are fine. They're fine.
Yeah. I like
All right.
And
I
then
see a lot of lists with them.
and then the long strikes are still really good. They're really going to be good. I think you run one of these to try to snipe heroes.
Yep.
I think they're very good.
They're not super oppressive anymore, which I'm happy with.
Vigilors I like a lot. I think they're really good.
Oh, I think they're a mainstay. I think most people should take
I
Vigilors.
think they're really, really good.
Really good.
The number
Plus
of
one to hit.
attacks, 100%. You put these in honor guard, woo boy.
Yeah, like my Andrasta list has 1 pack of 10 of these guys.
Yeah.
And you just drop them down, and
you just
they're
like,
plus
good
one.
luck.
Their +1 to hit isn't one target; it's just everybody that do
Now,
damage.
I don't remember. These aren't the same ones as what were the ones in 3rd edition where you got double the hits?
Vanguard, Raptor, Hurricanes.
Were those the Hurricanes where you got the
Yeah.
every hit was another hit?
Yeah, I think
God,
that was
those
the
things were
Hurricanes.
so annoying. I'm so glad those don't exist anymore.
They don't do the same thing.
Quester Soulsworn, I think you're going to see a lot of. I really think you're going to see a lot of it. It
Yeah.
justifies a lot of the battle tactics, whether it's one in each quadrant, take the land. Like, there's going to be so many reasons to take Quester Soulsworn. I think they're really good.
I would disagree here. I have
Okay.
Gryph-hounds to do all those things, and they're 80 points each.
Yeah, but you're not removing the Soulsworn, and they're also good for control score. The Gryph-hounds beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one control score, like max.
It doesn't matter. I'm not putting them on objectives. That's what everything else
Yeah,
is.
but Quester
They're
Soulsworn
doing
can
seize
be
the
on it.
center. They're doing seize the center. They're doing control the flanks, and then they're doing take a terrain feature in the back of the enemy.
How many Gryph-hounds are you running?
2 units.
They're not going to do all of those. You can't get
Yeah.
seize the center and take the flanks. They're going to be dead.
I mean, but then if they're dead, you just spent, whatever, how many points
Right,
killing.
but I think
80
Quester
points worth of
Soulsworn,
Gryph-hound.
you're like, good luck trying to remove them. Like, they're going to be really hard to kill. I don't know. To each their own. I still think, even in most lists that I see with Stormcast right now, a lot of people are using Soulsworn.
I don't think they're bad.
They are expensive.
Um,
Don't get me
they're-
wrong. They are really expensive.
Yeah,
But
and Gryph-hounds are 80 points.
I still think
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Soulsworn
what
are
you-
going to be better
what do
in
you want
damage.
these guys to do?
Better in
The-
damage, better in
Yeah.
removing them. I think they're just
Right,
better in
so-
every way.
If you want an objective taker, I think there's better choices. I think there's Fulminators. I think there's Paladors. If you want somebody that's going to do battle tactics, I think there's Aether Wings. I think there's Gryph-hounds. I think they do battle tactics better. They're cheaper. If you want something to hold a back objective, I think you've got Vindictors at 220.
Right, I agree
At
with you on that,
110
yeah.
points is a very. If you want a wizard, there's Krondys or there's the Lord Arcanum. I'm looking at a very verbose list of units that we have to choose from that we can specialize in. Now, if you want to go utility on Jack of Trades, I mean, that's fine. That's not how I build lists. When I build lists,
That's
I'm
fair.
like, what are my battle tactics that I'm going to get, and how do I get them as easily as possible on as many battle plans? And Gryph-hounds are fast. They're cheap. If my opponent puts points into killing them, that's fine because
They
they're
ser-
not
they
killing
serve their-
anything else.
Yeah, they serve
Yeah.
their purpose.
Exactly.
I don't think Quester Soulsworn are bad. I don't think they're an S though.
Yeah,
They are.
That's what I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Should be
And
points for an
again,
F.
I'm just going off most of
Yeah.
the lists that I see. Like, most people are running 2 of these. So it's like, what am I missing here then?
It's 230 points for 18 wounds at a 3-up save that hit moderately well
Yeah,
because it's 18 attacks at 3-up, 3-up, -1/2.
which is pretty good.
And if they get their objective, which that's what comes up to a skilled player or not, they have a 5-up board. The problem is that if you fail to get that objective, then like their tankiness
I disagree.
goes down a lot.
Remember, you can
Yeah.
drop these down from the sky at first turn, and then you still get another remove them and set them up. They can do it twice, essentially. Because you're putting these in the sky first turn, you're dropping them
Right.
wherever you need to, and then they still can get to another location. I think they're
But
good.
they can't do it as good as Griffhounds. And setting up doesn't let you do battle tactics.
Griffhounds?
Which is, it's
Gryph-hounds, they don't have a teleport, do they?
no,
Uh,
but they can go fast.
The
They can
second
go fast,
teleport
but the
is
second
pretty
teleport
good.
is really good for Soulsworn.
Right, and I'm not saying that a second teleport isn't, because I plan on doing that with my Vanguard, with the Vanguard formation.
Yeah,
But
if you
what
get
I'm
a 3
saying
up,
is
you don't have to do that with these guys. They just get it.
most battle tactics in the current GHB don't allow you to do those battle tactics with units you just set up. So
There's only
you
one
can't-
that doesn't allow you to do that.
Isn't that seize the center? And then I thought the flank ones didn't let you do that either.
Flanks don't. Take the
It's the
land.
flank
you
ones.
Can, flanks you can't.
Okay.
Take the land you can, and seize the center you can as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the one that you needed to do the most, because seize the center you can set up for turn 1. The flanks one is usually harder to be wholly outside your territory on some of the battle plans.
Yeah.
And so having a unit that can teleport or move very fast to get that battle tactic, especially like if you're at a turn 2 with like a very passive player, is a very good option.
That's
I-
fair.
I think questers, they do have a use, and I could see why people are taking 2.
Yeah,
because-
I'm just, and that's again, I'm not a Stormcast player. I rarely play Stormcast, very rare. But just the list that I'm saying, like, people are really on these guys, and it's like, what am I missing if they? If these guys are-
It's the double teleport, because you can still only bring half the people for every person on the field. You can take one up in the sky, and these guys allow you to put someone on the field to be able to take that seize the center in the beginning, still be a little bit tanky,
Well,
and
and
still have that teleport.
Also, keep in mind the order one too, to where you have all the quadrants. It's also really good for these guys.
Yeah, I can see where they are. I wouldn't put them in S tier. I think
Okay,
they're a good
fair.
unit,
Fair.
but
Put
I
'em
don't
in
think you
just
have to
rock
take them.
solid A. I do think
They're-
they are used quite a bit.
They're a little bit too expensive in my
They are.
opinion.
230
to
is
S.
really expensive. They are paying for it for sure. To end it off, Reclusions, they're fine. They're good. They do a lot of damage. It's fine.
I wish they were like 10 points cheaper, and then I
Yeah.
would be really, really into them.
Ah, man, 150 though. I mean, that's still pretty good for them. 3 attacks, 3 threes, 1 rend, 2 damage, crit mortal.
The
Pretty
problem
good.
is they sit in between like
Yeah.
Vanquishers
Yeah.
and
They're again
Annihilators.
too broad. Like we have too many things, right? Like
Right.
where
So-
what are you taking over this, right?
If that's their profile, you can just get because they're three models, right?
Yep, 3 models with 2 tokens.
So for 80 more points, you have double the amount of models, and you
And
have
way
Quester
better.
Soulsworn.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
like
No, you're right. That's fair. I mean, crit mortals is really good, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, cool.
they are what are they? Retributors. They're just retributors at home, and they're just not as good.
All right, we finally got through all the Warscrolls. As far as Regiments of Renown, you're not taking any of these, so rip.
Yeah,
Um,
they have too many models.
Yeah, you have
Like-
too many options. Like there's nothing that you need here.
There's nothing out there that another faction can give you that you can just do it yourself.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. Sometimes better.
All right,
Monster
so
slaying.
summary and overall tier of Stormcast. I said internal balance issue. It's really hard to determine what you want. Like, they've got a lot of options, but it's too many options. I think with the high point cost units, it's really tough to choose. You just kind of have to figure out what you want to do in your list. But between like the 250 to 500 range, there's a lot of options there that you can run. I said the army of 3s across the board. A lot of things are like 3s, and 3-up save. And again, like we talked about, it's just tough to build a list here with the amount of options you have. So everything's really expensive. The one thing that I will take from what James said is I do think control score is a big deal for this army. So,
Yeah.
uh, Cameron, go for it. What is your
I'm
summary?
because I gave you all of these tiers like right in the beginning before I had a lot of experience in 4th edition and rereading them all. I think it's probably a low A.
Okay,
my
so A
opinion.
minus, sure.
Yeah.
I still think they're A plus. I still think you can do really well with these
They're
guys.
not bad. Their problem is that they're really big, beefy units are really expensive.
Yeah.
But they actually made it to where their weaker units are actually cheap enough for you to actually go into now, which in the previous edition you just couldn't really do it. Their problem is that again, it's very, very wide range of things, and like you really need to know what you're going to specialize into. Especially with them losing a lot of units, which we didn't get to my favorite unit of them all.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I'll go ahead and say this after James because my favorite unit is going to be one of the units that they're getting rid of in a year. So,
all right, James, what is your summary?
Yeah, a very elite army. I think Wohammer had the stats last week at I think they're at like a 49% win rate.
Okay, so that's not bad. It's not terrible.
Yeah, and then so it's right there, the mid group. You always have to kind of be leery with that because a lot of new players always play Stormcast.
True.
Mhm.
True.
So I do feel like they are in that A tier as well. I kind of put them right at A minus.
Okay.
It's just hard with so many people playing them, and maybe not at a necessarily competitive level because there is a lot of traps in this army.
Another thing I'll add on to that is like the current stats with all the winning rates. We also have to think of like there's some factions that are a little bit overtuned right now, and I think that's just putting everything else lower.
Fair. That's fair too. Yeah, I agree.
I feel like we're 30 or 40 points. I feel like from this army being really good. And I think we might get it because GW loves their Stormcast babies.
Yes, they do.
So I would definitely keep my eye. If I was a Stormcast player, like primarily, I would definitely be looking at this army as like a definitely for like my first year of play as a solid contender.
Fair. Totally fair. All right, Cameron, go for it.
All right, my favorite unit of them all. It's going to be getting rid of starting at June of 2025 is the Celestar Ballista. Now, this baby cocks in at 140 points, 6 health at a 3-up save, and it has a single range attack of D6 plus 6 shots.
Okay.
That are a 4-up, 2-up, -1/1. It is anti-monster and crit ×2.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Now, it's kind of swingy, but they are crit ×2. I am a huge advocate of taking 2 of these guys and then plopping them down wherever you want because their melee attacks, I'm going to tell you the amazement of these melee attacks. 2 attacks at 3s, -1, 1 damage. So they're not going to kill anything in melee. However, they have an ability of once per battle in the combat phase. It's not an army ability, so both of these guys can do it. You go ahead and select someone that has charged you, and then you roll a dice, and on a 2-up, you inflict that many mortal wounds. So you set, and it's not a D3, it's a D6.
So you just, yeah. So
you set up 2 Celestar Ballistas, you just start blasting and annoying your opponent, and then your opponent goes, man, these guys are annoying. I'm going to go take that objective they're sitting on. They charge you, and then you just blast them with like 7 mortal wounds just straight off the bat.
That's pretty funny. Well,
I would like to say a correction real quick.
Okay.
Wohammer had them at a 46% win rate.
Okay, they'll go up. They'll go up.
I think they'll go up. I think they're better than what's represented there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But they do need about 30 or 40 points.
Yeah, I think we'll get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's my go-to Celestar Ballista, just for the meme of blasting my opponent for attempting to charge me.
All right. Let's go to Stormcast. This one's a lot. This one's a third of the Warscrolls that Stormcast is.
Sylvaneth?
Yeah. So what did I say?
Stormcast.
I meant Sylvaneth. Sorry, my bad. Sylvaneth. I actually. So there's some goods and bads with this. Okay, so let's. So as far as the overview, most is the same. But I think there's an incentive for being around trees even more so than it used to be.
Mhm.
A lot of their buffs are tree based, and I mean, like 95% of the book.
What, the tree faction is tree based?
Yeah, but it's even worse than what it was. Strike and Fade is very different, but it's still good for scoring battle tactics and objectives as long as you can survive. And I am extremely bummed on how trees are presented in this book. Man, I don't want to get too far into it, but boy, they've got some downsides. One, they're much harder to get out now, and two, they give your opponent more battle tactics, and they're easy to remove. And when your entire army is based around trees, it feels bad. And then, obviously there's few regiment blockers here because obviously there's not very many units. So, yeah. So, Cameron.
I feel sad for the Sylvaneth. I love Sylvaneth. I have an entire army of Sylvaneth. But I see a number of these things and I'm like, wow, this unit got such a glow up. It's so great. And then I look at the other 6/10 of the book and I'm like, wow, these book got such a downgrade.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and a lot of the things are pointed very weirdly. Like they pointed things as if it were pointed from 3rd edition, but now they have 4th edition Warscrolls, and I don't think they figured that out yet. No one's told them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
James, what are your thoughts on Sylvaneth?
So, first off, I think a lot of people who played Sylvaneth in 3rd are going to struggle because
100%.
It used to be a guerrilla tactic army where you were strike and fade.
Yep.
You had presence all over the board. You are not that army
No,
anymore.
you have to play completely different now.
You are a castle army now, and that is going to be a big shock to a lot of Sylvaneth players.
I agree.
And I think that's represented in the Wowhammer stats for last week, which put them out of 81 games. They're at a 39% win rate.
Ouch.
And
Ouch.
I could see that. They play completely differently.
Now, what I'll say is this: as far as obviously Sylvaneth has to play differently, right? That being said, I do think there are some spots in this book where they can be actually really competitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very different than what they used to be able to do.
Yep. The competitiveness is everything that no one else has ever played in Sylvaneth before.
Right.
I sit here though. I look at the 39%, and yes, there's a lot of it that comes into a brand new play style with this army. But I also look at the armies up in the top right now, paired up against Sylvaneth, Night Haunt,
Lumineth.
Who else?
Night Haunt, Soulblight, and Lumineth.
Yeah. I look at those three going into Sylvaneth, and I look at Sylvaneth and I go,
yeah, good luck, buddy.
You are going to struggle.
Yeah, good luck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's get into the battle traits. Endless Growth, it's a fantastic heal. It's great. It's fantastic. As long as you're wholly within 6 inches, most of the abilities for the trees are going to be wholly within 6, so you have to be very careful about how you are placing your units.
If you're next to trees, you heal.
Yeah, and you do this every turn, which is really good.
I think that's the biggest nerf to this whole thing is moving from within 6 to
wholly within 6. 100%. 100%. Let's talk about the biggest thing, Strike and Fade. Obviously, this is way different now. No longer do you get to do this right after the first fight. You have to actually survive the hit back, which is going to completely change how you play this army.
Yes,
this
it will.
This is the number one biggest difference in what Sylvaneth used to be, is being able to take the hit back and then Strike and Fade. Now, it's still really good, but again, you have to play this a little bit differently than you used to. You can't just you can't yeet your unit into a fight and remove it, right? You got to be a little bit more careful.
and it comes down to, again, have to be wholly within 6 inches
Yep.
and attacking someone.
Yep.
Yeah, you still have to be in combat.
Yep.
So if you killed
Yeah.
what you charged,
Then
you don't get
it.
to do this.
Yes, correct. And then
and also if you charge something with that tree nearby, and I don't know, your opponent knows how your army works, and then
they
just
just kill the tree.
attacks the tree instead of you.
We'll get into that. There's okay. We'll just talk about it now. There is a battle tactic for fight twice. I think it's do not waver. You can literally once you summon a tree, you're just giving your opponent a battle tactic.
Yep.
They just fight twice in the tree and they get a battle tactic. It's so bad.
Oh, what? There's that tactic. Is there? There's just more pieces of terrain, on the board for you to be able to be next to.
Yeah.
There's just so many. Oh, I need to fight something. Oh, hey, there's a tree. Oh, did you place your tree in the middle of the board? All right,
Now
that just means I have. Yeah. I now have a slingshot to charge forward.
You got to be real. It's gonna now. I think very good players playing Sylvaneth are gonna figure this out, and they're gonna do really well with this army, but. It's really tough.
I would counter that with really good players who play against Sylvaneth are going to know this trick and play around.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Too. That's true.
They're going to sit there, rub their hands together, and be like, "Oh, please tell me where your entire army is going to get all their."
I will say, I still think there's ways to win with this army, though. The other one is just you get the free movement teleport to the tree. Sure, it's fine.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's like
any type of teleported movement is good.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
Movement wins games, right?
Just don't worry, you don't get almost any of your buffs to charge anymore. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Battle formations. My favorite is Lords of the Clan because again, I'm running this in a very monster heavy fashion. So healing 3 flat in every
turn.
Every turn is really good.
If you're
really,
running
really
monsters, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
If they got rid of the non-Kurnoth, I'd be happy.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of Kurnoth anymore. I'll be honest.
I know because they have no buff support.
Yeah.
Because it's non-Kurnoth.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
It's I can see where Cameron's coming from because in a castle army, your cav is so important for battle tactics and objective grabbing.
Yeah.
That you want them to be as good as possible at all times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, my favorite is obviously Lords of the Clan. I'm running that heavy monster meta. So, heroic traits, Radiant Spirits, meh. The other two I thought were pretty decent. +2 to move is good, and Spell Singer is really good because it helps get your trees out faster. So I am
you're gonna have to it's one of the things that you are so reliant on getting trees out, and the 100%. Only way of getting trees out is through spells now.
Yep.
There's
one other way to do it, and that's a niche of using Belthanos to change something to an Awakened Wild.
Yeah, and I think that is actually makes him very.
Good.
It
makes him really. He's in every one of my lists.
Yes,
so,
right. He should be. He's so good.
Yeah, he's really good.
He still slaps hard.
And he makes it so that you can't kill them, right?
We'll get there. Okay,
we'll get there. But I would say out of this, Spellslinger is like my pick.
Yeah, same here. It's my
+1 to casting is just so good.
Yeah.
All around.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Warsinger.
Yeah, because if you're running bugs, run in charge.
It's a huge debuff of what it was before, but
still good though.
Yeah.
I can see if you're running Fleet and Swift with heavy bugs, this is really good.
Exactly. But you're most likely going to see Spellsinger every single time.
And unfortunately, you're just going to have to because you need trees. Unfortunate. Their artifacts of power are okay. There's nothing too backbreaking here. They're all decent in their own ways. Let's see. I think on a 3 add 1 to wound.
The Seed of Rebirth. We've seen it before. A lot of things. I don't like putting things that are going to fail on me.
Yep, 1 and 2 is not good for me. I don't like it.
It could be useful, but I want something that I know I'm going to be able to do.
Yeah,
that's what
And the only one that you're going to get out of this selection is potentially Greenwood. It's on a 2-up. So
I just wish out of these 3 choices we would have one that didn't require a die roll.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I have one that was
just
cast another spell,
right? Yep.
or plant a tree,
Something. Give me
Oh.
something.
something.
Give me a
that
once
just
per
happened.
battle. Give me a once per battle plant a tree, and I'm taking it every day of the week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Right. And you know what? Every single person would take it.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, so these are okay. These are fine. Again, all these are on a dice roll, so I'm probably leaning towards the Gladius. Maybe it's decent damage that you can do. It's any combat phase. Meh.
Yeah, it's damage before combat actually
Yeah,
happens.
that's
So
fine.
like
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
That's
There's
fine.
more than one chance. It's not a once per battle, which is great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they're
let's
all
get,
on 3-ups,
let's
so
get
it's like
to
Yeah.
the let's get to the downside here. Oh man. Their spell lore. Now they have the worst. They've got to have the worst unlimited spell in the game. The fact that you have to do this to get your trees out, and that is your unlimited spell on a 6 cast, feels awful. It's so bad. Come on. At least give me a 5-up for half of my, or like 90% of my buffs to go off. Give me at least a 5-up for this to get these trees off. I'm so disappointed that this is the unlimited spell they
Yeah.
got. It's so bad.
It's because it's a spell that it might as well just be the mandatory spell for the army
Yeah.
because you have to cast
You
it.
have to get it off. You have to get this off in
Yeah.
order to make your army
So-
useful.
and with manifestations being so prevalent and such a requirement for the top tier gates,
Mhm.
taking away spells to cast trees,
It's
just
bad.
hurts.
Feels real
it
bad.
hurts a lot.
Feels
Yeah.
real bad.
And it's not like this army is, has a million spellcasters.
No.
The only other note here is Wrathful Spirits is pretty good, plus 1 rend, again, as long as you're wholly within 6 inches of a tree. And then you got the better Horde spell, where you can cast this from a tree, and it does 5-up and 1 mortal wound, so it's fine.
You'll never cast it. There's only one
Unfortunately-
spell you'll be casting here.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right, and that makes me sad.
There's only one spell you're going to cast, and
It's
you're going to have
so
to cast it
not
every
fun.
single
And it's
turn
so not fun.
because all your trees are going to die.
And then you're just going to use the rest for manifestations.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that will be your turn.
Sylvaneth Manifestation Lore. The Hive is the same Hive it was, except it's a little worse now because you don't do it every turn. You just do it for 1 round. I actually liked the Smite Storm Hive with the, I think it was like -1 to attacks or something in the other turn if you were on the defensive side, which was really good. It's still the dreaded 2-up to get the bonus here, which is still unfortunate because
Is this better than Morbid Conjuration, though? Or
No.
no,
So,
no.
Also, the Hive, you don't get its buff in your opponent's turn.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. And you can't
Right.
use it. It's only for your turn, really.
You get it on
Right.
your turn to someone within 3
Right,
inches
right.
instead of the previous 12 inches. Also,
Vengeful
Like-
Skull Root
So
is the
bad.
worst manifestation in the game. It has to be.
I
It
love
is
this model.
so
yeah,
bad.
it's a great looking model.
It is.
I
it
would
is
love to paint it.
So bad. That manifestation's garbage. It's so bad.
I would never play it.
It doesn't even hit hard.
No,
I mean,
it
I
doesn't
feel
hit-
like
no,
with-
it's
You have some spellcasters in this army, but
you're never doing it. with
are you
this.
going to take enough for it to?
No.
I would say
How
You're
bad
probably-
How bad is that? Maybe +1 to charge from that Hive. How badly do you want
Yeah,
that?
I mean, yeah. And if
how
you
badly
really
do I want my purple sun?
And if you
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want that, like you're just gonna take something else. You're gonna take the battle formation to run and charge, right? Like manifestation lore is the downside. Moving on.
Agreed.
Oh, there's
alright.
plenty of downsides.
All right, so here we go. Here are Warscrolls. I think Alariel is fantastic.
Do you
Yes.
have a war scroll for the Wildwood? Like, is that somewhere in here?
Yeah, it is. It's on the very last. It's the very last thing. We'll go.
I
over
don't
it.
know why you did that last because that's like what this entire army runs off of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can go over it if you want.
GW said buy our terrain, and
Yeah. I think in order to understand a lot of these
Alright, we'll go
things,
through
you need to
it.
go over
Yeah,
the Wildwood.
Yeah, sure. I put it. We'll go back up, but Awaken Wildwoods. Obviously, it's an S tier because you're obviously going to take it, and it is what it is. But
And
again,
this is an army that requires this. I wouldn't even call it an S tier.
well, unfortunately, you have to have it, which is S tier, right? I mean, just as for the tiers that we go for. But unfortunately, again, you give your opponent battle tactics. You have to have them. Even if you get 3 of them out, you're just healing the trees, which is like, okay, great. It's not good. It's not good.
And they're 8, 10, or 12 health.
Correct.
Which is, it could
Fine.
be
It's
a
on a
little
4-up
bit tanky.
save. It's fine.
And,
The D3 Mortals is notable.
Okay, all right. So this is what I have for you. The Wildwood on a 4-up, once per turn on any combat phase. On a 4-up, you choose someone in combat with the tree, and it does D3 mortal wounds. Now the fun part is it's once per turn per army. So even if you have multiple of the Wildwoods, you can still only do it with one. With one. So not even this one ability is actually has a good side on it.
I mean, I guess in hindsight, they were trying to prevent like stacking the trees.
Oh
to
no!
Where you could do 3d3, I guess.
It sounds so
on
powerful.
A 4-up though. Like, get out of here, guys! Come on. Ugh. That makes it so much worse. Oh, that's so bad. Oh.
I told you there were plenty of downsides to this army.
Yeah, I told you. Even it's a mandatory terrain piece, but even then, I don't think it's an S tier.
Okay, let's go back to Alariel because she makes me happy. Alariel,
sure. Yes,
Alariel
I love her Warscroll.
is literally fantastic. You're either gonna you're either gonna run Alariel or Belthanos. I'm running both of them because I'm a psychopath.
Dude, you're not a psychopath. Like they're good.
I think she's great. She's going to heal. If you're taking the battle formations, she's healing 3 at the end of every turn, plus a 2d3 if she needs it. Otherwise, she's getting +1 to casting. She's
going to be so hard to kill. You just put her. She's so fast. You just put her in the middle of the field and just go, all right, guys, I'm going to stay right here. I'm a 3 caster. I'm tanky. I heal 3d3 every turn. I have a ward now.
And Rite of Life is incredibly good.
Yep, my spell is good.
No, her spell's not good.
Compared to everything else in this army?
I disagree. I think her spell's really bad. Because you have to kill the unit.
It's 2d3 mortals.
It's 2d3 mortals, but you have to kill the unit. It's not killing a model like it used to be.
Oh, I don't care about killing the unit. It's 2d3 mortals.
Yeah, it's 2d3 mortals. Sure, that's fair. My thing, Rite of Life, in my list is going to be great because I'm taking a bunch of monsters, and the fact that I can get any of those back, and then they're still just going to heal at the end of the turn. Oh, her Rite of Life is so good. It's so good. It is on a 4-up.
I would say be careful though.
It is on a 4-up. It is on a 4-up
because it is a 4-up, and new players don't build around. You shouldn't build around that.
Correct.
Like your list should be a solid list, and then if this happens, it's nice. But do not plan around.
100%. Also, her living battering ram is on a D6 instead of a D3. Really good. It's really good.
She
slaps
is
in combat too. She's
probably like the best Warscroll in this entire faction. Like, she's 680 points, but she buffs the entire faction. She's the spell casting you need for this faction. Yep. She doesn't die. She's tanky. She deals damage. She has a ranged attack. I wouldn't rely on it.
No, I mean, you never did. Even on the old one, you never did.
Like, she just has everything that you would want in a faction.
My when
3 caster, by the way, also.
Yeah. When I look at her, I'm kind of torn between her. The reason I would take Belthanos over her is because I look at the play style of how I'm playing Sylvaneth now. I'm like, I want to sit in my castle. And I want to do castle things around my trees. And if I want somebody to shoot out and strike an objective, I feel like Belthanos and Bugs do it better.
My biggest issue with Belthanos is he's not a wizard. You struggle with wizards in here.
You can get wizards though. When you're not pumping all the points into her, you can get other wizards.
Sure, Branch Witch is garbage, but sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so maybe she's great.
Ancient,
I love her Warscroll. I look at how they want us to play Sylvaneth.
I get it.
I look at her, and I'm like, I feel like they're fighting each other.
I agree. I just still think in every list that I take, Alariel's probably in my list.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
So this is my argument for both of you. Alariel and Belthanos are the two things that you're going to see in every single list. It just
Yeah,
depends which one
same
you're going to
here.
take, or both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
I don't
in every
think there's
list
an
that
army
I've
without
created
them.
with Sylvaneth, I have Alariel and Belthanos. It's so many points, but they're just they're so needed for this army.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like both of them. I would consider them the S tiers of this.
Yeah,
Of
I
this
agree. I agree.
because you just can't make a list without
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
100%.
Lady of Vines, I think, is actually pretty good. Two caster, she is Awaken a Wild with wood in some aspects, not everything, but in most aspects that you need her for. And subtracting one and adding one is really good. It's really good.
I like her. I like her.
5
My
up board.
problem
Good.
is she's a drop,
Yeah.
but she's a two. So, but
She is a
the thing
two-caster.
I'm taking Belthanos, and she could be my other drop because she's my
Right,
two-cast wizard
right,
that I'm looking
Right.
for.
And she's not
Mhm.
680
To get
points. She's 280, right? So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And-
just a great support.
she is.
Yeah.
She is.
I like her. At 280 points, I think I'm a buyer.
Yeah, I agree. I way better than last edition, in my opinion. So
Yeah, she actually has a use now.
yes, agreed.
And she's a
Drycha.
little beat stick too. Like she can slap.
Oh yeah, 6 attacks,
Yeah.
3 threes, 2 rend, 2 damage, and mortals on crit. Pretty good.
Yeah, you're just taking her. She can actually make your guys actually like tanky.
Hmm.
Like she definitely has a play.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Alariel and Belthanos are better, but she's not bad.
No, I couldn't downside anything for people taking Lady of Vines. I think she's good. Drycha, on the other hand, is not.
I hate her. I don't like her.
310 points. There's no way I'm taking Drycha.
We'll just move along.
Yeah, that's
that
gonna
goes
be
right
nope.
to the bin.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, they got rid of everything that made her.
Yes, yes. Everything that she was good at, she's just lost. It's just so bad. Yeah. All right. Belthanos, we already talked about him making the Wildwoods thing on a terrain for the rest of the battle is really good.
Good. Hey, you have a wildwood that won't break now.
Correct. Yeah. True. Very good point. Very good.
That
point.
is
That's
probably
really
worth
good.
his points right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
Uh-huh.
And dude slaps in combat.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really good.
I love this guy.
Yeah. Belthanos is great.
He's my auto include. Like, if I could see playing Alariel, like I love her model, I love her war scroll, but this guy I feel like fits my playstyle how I think Sylvaneth should be played.
Pick 3.
I feel like
3
we're gonna
Sylvaneth.
castle.
that you can run a
Belthanos
charge.
bugs are gonna shoot out, grab objectives, and do battle tactics, while my Kurnoth is gonna sit in the back and shoot bows.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah,
he's good.
the run and charge ability is really good.
Oh, so good.
He's just really good. He's really good. There's a reason I just spent money to buy this guy from Jed. So yeah, yeah, he's really good. I like him. All right, moving on. Warsong, it's tough, man. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what you're doing with her. I don't know if she's supposed to be up front or if she's supposed to be in the back.
She's a caster.
Right, but like your buff that you want to give people, you have to be up front a little bit. Like,
You're there to
I don't know,
give
man.
you're there to put trees down.
I honestly think
And
I'm
I think-
skipping her.
I think Lady of Vines, is who I'm taking over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I know
Yeah.
she's a little bit more expensive, but I still think I'm taking Lady of Vines over Warsong.
Yeah, because she's going to be a beat stick. She's got the 5-up ward that's going to make me hold that back objective. This guy he wants to be too many things, and he doesn't do them great.
Right, like you
Yeah.
want that -1 from ward rolls, like that's like a really good ability, but you're
You
putting
need
her
to be up in there.
right.
Jeez.
You're putting her in a bad spot, and it's like I don't
if-
know what you're trying to do with her.
If she kept the +1 to cast, I'd say she'd have a good use. But
Oh yeah, but +1 to cast is such a premium right now.
she
Yeah,
has
it is.
+1 to unbind, which is like one of the
Sure.
very
And
few
Banishment,
people.
which is good, but
Mhm.
meh.
Yeah,
I think I'm
agreed.
skipping. Another one I'm skipping, Arch Revenant. Bye. Get out of here. He's garbage. For 170 points, no way. No way.
Buffing Kurnoths.
Okay, but you're not taking Kurnoth anymore, so, like... I don't know, man. I don't think he's
there's
good.
one Kurnoth you're going to be taking.
170 points and the only one that
The
you're
bow
okay.
ones.
Yeah, the bows will get into it, but
Well, the bows and Belthanos.
Oh yeah,
sure. But I just don't think he's worth it. I don't
He's
think
not worth the drop. Is the
No,
problem?
yep,
Not
yep,
at his points.
Yep.
Not 170 points.
Not
Yeah,
170
if you
points.
could take him as like a sub captain,
Yeah, as a
like
lieutenant or something.
Ariel or
Yeah.
Belthanos, I think,
Maybe,
but not
maybe.
at 170. I think at like a
150
160 or 150.
150.
I would at 150 as a sub captain.
I'll take
Oh,
it.
I
he's-
think I would be a buyer on this guy. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
But right now, no. He's too expensive and he's a drop. Not worth it. Not worth it. Spirited Dirthu, the big sword still is there. He hits like a freaking truck.
Yeah.
He's still good.
He hits hard.
He hits hard. He does exactly what you need him to do.
Kill monsters.
Yep. And if you
Yeah.
put heal on him and you put him, okay. So my list, I'm a psychopath, right? So like I'm putting Spirited Dirthu, Belthanos, and Alariel in a list, and just doing the best I can. I just think I love all these guys, and I'm a big monster mash type of person. I think with the heal flat 3 is pretty good. They're just fun. I just think they're fun.
Sure.
I absolutely love this guy. I have this model. I love to paint.
Yep.
I love the way he looks.
Yep.
He will not see play right now.
Yeah, he's a
It's
little.
just-
Yeah.
He's just too many points, and he's another drop.
Yep.
And I've got Belthanos or I've
Yeah.
got Ariel.
I think in like super competitive lists, you're not gonna. You might see one of him, but you won't see both Alariel and Belthanos, right? Like,
He's, oh gosh, he's just.
but he does hit like a truck, man. He will remove what he gets into. Like he hits like a truck.
Is he still not a wizard though, right?
No,
Yeah.
he's still not a
No.
wizard.
So you take Belthanos.
But you
don't
can
have
make him a wizard. You can make him a wizard.
Yeah.
Fair.
Spell singers can go on him, and that's exactly
You
what
mean-
I'm using him for.
And you might as well. It's not
Yeah.
like you have any better options.
Exactly, 100. He's my spell singer. Um,
You have one wizard. Congratulations.
Tree
Lady
Lord.
of Vines unique. Yeah, she is.
Tree Lord. Meh. He's okay. He's fine.
I guess that could be.
He doesn't count as a
one-
drop though. Tree Lord does not
That-
count as a drop. He's a lieutenant, so that is
Yes.
nice.
That could be an argument as well for the Warsong Revenant because you can make her a 3 cast as well if she's not unique.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that.
+1. You give her a +1.
I don't want to
cast.
make her a 3
Oh, you
cast. I don't want to make her a 3 cast. I want to put something that's not a wizard because I need as many trees as possible.
Gotcha.
And
That's
Okay.
fair,
but-
especially since tree lords are a thing and they're like little sub captains.
Yeah.
And you can make
Yeah.
them casters.
Yep.
Like I see the argument for that.
I just wish they weren't heroes. Is there any ways to not make them heroes again?
No.
Because they're a
No.
drop, right?
Well, they're a sub captain.
Well,
so
they're
you can
tree
put them
lords.
in.
Tree lords are lieutenants, so they can go. They don't count as
Okay.
drops, so that's actually really good for them. Thank God, right?
Yeah, like I see them actually having play because of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, one of them that I'm not taking is True Lord Ancient. I think he's way too expensive for a 1 caster, and that is all he's really bringing to the table.
And like,
That's all he's bringing.
it's so bad.
I know he's bad. 320 points, and he's a drop. No way, dude. There's no way I'm bringing the True Lord Ancient. There's no way.
320 points. Like he's a 1 caster.
1 caster.
He's
You couldn't even
what,
be a 2 caster. 320
slightly
points.
better
Come on.
than a
now.
tree lord, if anything.
Ah,
Yeah.
And his one unique ability is during your turn, if they're next to an awakened wildwood that hasn't been destroyed by them, you can
D3,
damage them.
2 up. Yeah.
I'll tell you how you fix this guy. You change it so that once per turn, he can place an awakened wildwood on like a 3
Yes. Yes. 100%. Now he's up in
Hell,
stocks. Absolutely.
If he had a 4-up, I'd still take it.
Yes. Yes. You are not wrong. I would absolutely take him at 4 up for
Hell, if they just had this previous ability of once per game, he gets a free wildwood.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
man.
holy cow.
He's just bad.
Yeah,
320
auto
points.
include.
Yeah, it's just I'm not,
Yeah, he just became an S tier just like that.
Branch Witch. It's your cheap caster. It's fine.
Yeah, cheap
Is she a
caster.
drop? She's a drop,
She's a
right?
drop.
Yeah,
She's
we'll
a drop.
pass.
Yeah.
Pass.
And she doesn't get all the things. She only can bring infantry, which is weird, but whatever.
Which are also pass.
Yep. Yep. Cool. So, Gossamids, I think they're okay. I actually think they're fine.
They're cheap.
They're cheap. They're
Yeah.
really cheap. For what you get, especially the shooting attack, it's actually not bad. For 120 points,
Yeah,
it's,
like it's
I
not bad.
like. So these are what I picture prelators are, or not prelators. The bow guys and Stormcast.
Yeah, yeah.
prosecutors.
Prosecutors. I feel like these are the prosecutors of Sylvaneth, but I like them more here because I don't have the cheap choice to do battle tactics like these guys do. So these are my guys that, because I'm sitting in my castle and I want my bugs killing stuff, then they're only 120 points. I can use them to grab my flanks, or I can use them for seize the center, and get me that battle tactic. And at 120 points, if you do a battle tactic for me, sold.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you can reinforce
pretty
these
great.
guys. These guys can be really deadly.
I wouldn't reinforce them.
No,
I don't know if I'd do it, but like they're still
They have
pretty good.
2-inch cohesion. Just take 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true. So these are
Like,
good.
that's all you need.
The twist wheel, no.
Yeah, Twistfield. Meh.
Revenant Seekers, I'm also saying nope to. If I'm going to take the Revenant Seekers, I'm just going to go Spite Rider Lances. Like, and especially in the meta that we are currently, Spite Riders are stonks right now because the anti-cav is really good. Everyone is taking cav, right? The only time that this is not going to be good is if you go up against Night Hunt, and then Spite Riders aren't very good. But still, I still think Spite Riders have their place, and I think they're very good in the meta currently.
That also seems, though, to bring to the point that Night Hunt is very prevalent and doing very well right now.
And they will change. I guarantee you right now, hex rates are not going to be the same that they are.
I would also say, though, that if you had if you had Seekers instead of Lancers, I don't think that would change the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
I love Lancers.
I think the
Lancers
Lancers are really good. I do think
amazing.
I think in the current meta they're really good. I do think there's a point where they're maybe too expensive, but I think in the current meta, I think Spite Rider Lancers are huge stonks. I think they're very good. I think they're very, very good.
Yeah.
They also don't they they get the fight first, right? Yeah, dude. These guys,
on a 3-up, they get a fight first.
Yeah, which is really good. It's still really good.
Yeah.
I think these guys.
My list has 2 of these guys.
Yeah, I think these
I think
guys are.
I
really
think
good.
they're a solid include for sure.
Yep, I agree.
I have 2 reinforced packs of these guys just because.
Yeah, I mean that's
really good.
Yep,
They're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. 12-inch move, pretty good. Revenant. We were talking about Revenant Seekers, Kurnoth. Okay, let's just get the Kurnoth out of the way here. The only Kurnoth
I will not look until they wear bows. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. The Kurnoth, all the Kurnoth are worse, right? Minus the bows. The other 2 Kurnoth are bad. They're 4-up save now. They're a lot easier to kill. They're still slow. They're really expensive. Pass.
Yeah, we're going to take this. What are they? Almost the exact same profiles that they were before, except they just
Die quicker.
They just lowered their save.
Yeah, and for 200
feel
points,
like-
they're
yeah.
bad. They're just bad.
If you're gonna drop the save on this unit, I think you have to give them a continuous ward.
Or
a
drop their
conditional ward.
points significantly. Like
Yeah.
200
Like,
points
it's
for
just-
this is too expensive. Are you kidding me? No way.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the S tier one that everyone and their mom is going to take a reinforced group of Kurnoth Hunter Great Bows, because goddamn these guys are good.
They finally became good.
These guys are almost too good. They
I'm doing my Kurnoth dance now.
They are 18-inch range and will just melt heroes. They will melt, especially little tiny ones. You just ignore a guarded hero and they're just gone. They just cease to exist.
Delicious.
They are absolutely incredible, and you will see
And they could
at
sit
least
in my little
6 of
castle.
these in every list.
Yep.
They can
What,
sit in my
400
castle all day.
400 points for 13 attacks at 3s, -2/2 against a hero.
Yeah. Just annihilating heroes.
Even against like and a monster hero too.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
even a
that's
monster
still
hero.
really
Like
good.
they're going to do damage. Like these guys are,
And
are so good.
It's a ranged unit that has 30 wounds to it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like
It's crazy.
It is my castle of this is my back objective.
Like,
you will not
yeah.
take it.
Yeah, for sure. With countercharge also in play, like these guys are just, even if they're not shooting heroes, they're just super good.
And I would not look past their vicious claws. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s. Even though
Sure.
there's no rend,
Sure.
3s and 3s is still really good.
Yeah.
On a base attack for a melee attack.
For 200 points, man, these guys, like, I don't understand the point cost that they were thinking. Like, guys, what were you? Okay, whatever. The other one that's obviously going to be one that's included quite a bit. I think you're going to have probably 1 unit of Tree Revenants in most lists. Keep in mind, you can no longer teleport both tree revenants. You can only do one because it is a once.
You're gonna have
game,
one,
or once per
and
army.
That's it.
Yeah. So you're gonna have one of those. This might be a hot take. I actually like dryads. I think they're good, and the reason I think they're good, with damage coming down and harder to hit things now, -1 to hit and wound is really good. For 110 points, I still think these guys are good.
I think they do have a play. I'm just going to destroy your tree that's giving you all your buff, though.
Well, you put you put these around a Lady of Vines.
That's what my thought is. Like, I'm going to take my dryads. My home objective is
they don't
row
work.
of dryads.
They don't work.
A tree.
It doesn't
Yeah,
work.
Lady
Lady
of
of
Vines.
Vines, and then my 6 Kurnoth with bows.
The
That's
Lady
my
of Vines
castle.
doesn't work with the dryads. I just thought about that.
Yep.
They don't work because the Lady of Vines.
She's not an awakened wildwood.
She isn't. She only works for Awaken a Wildwood on like the primary things you use, so you can't use it for
battle traits.
dryads. You're right. You're right. You're right.
But she's still a 2-caster.
Yeah, she's still great.
I still think
It's
dryads.
just you're not going to get dryad buffs on them.
I still think dryads are good, but they probably go down a little bit now. Yeah, that's fair.
Like, don't get me wrong, they're still
like,
good. They're
you're-
cheap. It's a cheap
They get a-
screen.
They get a 5-up, don't they, if they're next to the trees or something? I can't remember.
No, it's just
so
minus
if-
1 to hit and wound. Anything that goes into them is -1 to hit and wound if they're within Awakened Wildwood. The issue is.
The Lady of Vines can give a 5-up board.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's why I'm putting
Gotcha,
her next
gotcha.
to.
Yeah.
So then my lady gives them the 5-up. Then they're -1 to hit and wound with a 5-up, standing in front of my Kurnoth, which I'm going to use to covering fire.
Sure,
So
it's a lot to make that work, but yeah, that may because remember
well,
dryads.
that is my castle.
Well, dryads
Yeah.
don't get the bonus to the -1 to hit and wound if they're just next to lady. They
No,
don't
that's
get
why I'm
it.
saying there's a tree there too.
Right.
I was very.
But here's my
Line of dryads.
here's my
A tree.
sure.
The Lady of Vines sitting next to the tree, and
Sure.
then behind all of that is the Kurnoth Bowshunter.
The only thing from what Cameron was saying is that like you're going into dryads, you're just gonna kill the tree. You're not even gonna go into the dryads.
Yeah,
You're
because
just
dryads
gonna
aren't going to do any damage to you.
kill the tree. So
Yeah,
that's
you
the
have
thing.
to kind of put the tree back a little bit.
I mean, good luck, dude. I mean, the trees, man.
Oh, I'm not playing Sylvaneth. I
Um,
have the army in the closet.
So I do want to try to test my monster mash list just to see. I just want to play it just because it might be fun. Spy
My
Revenants.
Andrastalus would love to play your monster.
Okay,
Mash
sure.
list.
Not everyone's gonna have Andrasta. Spy Revenants are fine. They're fine. They're at 110 points. They're just like what they were. They're fine.
They have the same problem that they always do,
Yep.
is that it's just 5 models.
All right. We already talked about Awakened Wildwood, so we're done.
Yep. Awakened Wildwood's easy, C tier, I'd
Like,
say.
yeah. Regiments Renown. Not really anything. Saviors of Cinderfalls might be nice for manifestation stuff, but it's probably bad.
I
Black
said Black Talon.
Talons
Maybe.
is good in a lot of different things.
Gives you
so-
another cast.
Yeah.
Well, the cast, if you're doing
Indeed.
that tanky unit on a 3-up save,
Yeah.
and then a hero killer with Neve, like, it gives a lot.
All right, summary and overall. Okay, so I think overall a nerf to the army, obviously. But I do think there will be some niche builds that are good. You can't discount the Grey Bows. Like, they're just super good. Bugs seem like a great counter to the meta currently. Their anti-cav is very useful. Trees, we already talked about them, can get you in trouble, so be careful. And then for me, I just put in Monster Mash for the win. I rate these guys as a B plus, maybe more towards a B. I do think they can go 3-2, but you're gonna work for it. 4-1 in niche cases. 5-0. We'll see if a person gets a 5-0 list. We'll see.
I think the only reason why I did not give this a C tier was because of Lariel and Belthanos.
And the Great Bows. You
Yeah,
can't-
they're good, but I don't think they're.
Oh no, man! I think
I don't think they're causing this army to not. Sell.
Sure, fair. James, what's your overall take?
I think you guys are a little optimistic here.
You think they're C? You think they're C?
I honestly think they're like D plus.
Wow.
I look at the other armies right now in holistically
Okay.
as a cohesive unit, and what do I see that's lower than what the current iteration of Sylvaneth are? And I'm like, Cruel Boys,
I don't even
maybe
know. I think
Iron
Cruel Boys
Jaws.
might be good too.
Cadron Overlords.
Yeah, KO's in a rough spot. Yeah.
That's about it. Like, I see everything else that I think of, OBR, Suns, Fire Slayers, Ogres, Slanesh. I see everything else better than what these guys currently are at. And that is why I stand on this. I could see them maybe being bottom of C. But I'm like, they're just so many things working against it. Their
That's
own
right.
War Scrolls seem to fight their own
Yeah,
playstyle.
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And
James,
there's
you've
just-
convinced me.
I'm
They're
just saying
C.
that because there's just so many things better than what they are right now. That's where I'm at.
Sure.
I have to go ahead, and after doing all of order, I have to go. How far
Okay.
can this go ahead and stand against Sylvaneth?
Now that we talked about it, let's go through the order factions. This gonna be interesting because I don't think James knows some of these that we put. It'll be very interesting to see what he takes. Most of our takes, Cameron, are pretty close.
Yeah, I'm moving Sylvaneth to a C.
Yeah. I'm gonna move them to B minus. I don't think they're C. I don't think they're a C tier.
I also don't think this is.
This is updated.
All my is this my updated one?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is updated for order. It is.
No, I think KO is lower. I think I put KO as a B.
Okay, well then I'll change them. Okay, so let's go through our journey so far on the what we've ranked, and this is obviously me and Cameron's opinion. You know, sure. Also, we're pretty close on a lot of these, me and Cameron. My biggest take for this, after playing 6 games of Fire Slayers, I do not think they're S tier. I think you are crazy if you think they're S tier. They
I
have
want
one
them to be
good.
S tier.
They have one good thing where you drop the reinforced unit of
the
shooting guys.
the shooting guys are fantastic, and I
Yeah.
agree with you. That is their
And once
only niche.
And once that's out of the way,
They're bad.
then
They're bad.
you get to play the game.
Jed will fight me tooth and nail that they're good, and I'm sorry they do not play like they used to. I've played 6 or 7 games with these guys, and they're just bad.
After
They're just
everything
bad.
I've seen, I am willing to bring him down from S tier.
So they currently have, according to Wohammer, they're at a 48% win rate.
I
Out of
give
75 games.
I give all of the percentages like +3 to 5, except for the top 3.
Yeah. But I look at
Which means
what
that
you
they're
want to know
about
what ahead
average.
of them is? Seraphon, Ogre Mod Tribes, Slanesh, Gitz, Cities, Ideneth, Slaves, Disciples of Tzeentch, Soulblight Grave
Okay, so
Lords,
like everyone
Lumineth
got-
Realm
yeah,
Lords,
great.
Nighthaunt.
So
So, like I said, after seeing a lot of stuff and actually like seeing them in play, I'm willing
Yeah.
to go down on them. To
Yeah.
I'd say probably in.
I think they are a solid middle of the pack army.
I
Honestly.
think they're like B plus.
I'd say
Yeah.
A minus still. I still think they're good.
You're crazy.
I
What else? What
I
are
just-
their big differences?
I don't think they're good than the armies that I would put in A. Because who would I put in A? Would be Tzeentch, Slaves, Ideneth, Cities, Gitz, and then I go maybe Slanesh as well. And then my B tier is like Seraphon, Fire Slayers, Beasts.
Yeah, we marked Seraphon as B, and the only reason Seraphon's in B right now is because they're Aggrodon spam, and that's it. Once you get rid of the Aggrodon spam, I don't think they're a very good army, like at all.
Well, they've only got a 49% win rate.
And then obviously we all agree. I imagine James agrees as well. Lumineth is fantastic right now.
Oh yeah, they're S tier, 100%.
They are scary good right now. They are.
The only
scary
thing
good.
they struggle against is Nighthaunt, and that's what we see in the.
Yeah.
Lumineth are
They're so
great.
good.
So remember, and again, James, we haven't gone through any of the other Grand Alliances. We've only gone through Order. So
Yeah.
we haven't got there yet. But so far, the number 1 in Order is Lumineth, and I think there's no question.
Yeah.
And I think our lowest one is probably Sylvaneth or KO. So
Yeah, I would say I don't want to counter too hard here, but I would say KO is like right next to him.
yeah,
Like-
KO's in a rough spot right now.
I would say
Yeah.
Sylvaneth maybe is a little better than KO because
How the times have changed.
Sylvaneth,
I know, right?
their War Scrolls are just they can get objectives. They're not good. The trees they run away from, but KO is sitting at what, a 38% win rate right now. Sylvaneth is at a
Yeah.
39% win rate. They're
Hey.
both bottom.
I'm willing to go ahead and change my KO perspective as well.
Yeah. I'm probably I'd go down to B- on KO.
After everything I've seen, I would actually put them at probably like a C plus.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
There's just, especially at the games that I've played, there's just way too many ways to counter them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just endemic of the game, with counter charge
Well,
and
the terrain rules. Obscuring.
It's
Yeah.
obscuring. Obscuring is the reason why I do
Obscuring
it.
is so good.
I have played games versus like shooting armies, and I've made my opponent not be able to do anything just because I was in obscuring.
Yeah, obscuring is so good.
Yep.
And for
they're
everyone out
all
there,
shooting.
Dan, if you're watching this, which you probably won't, obscuring has nothing to do with visibility. Get out of here. It has nothing to do with visibility. The only thing obscuring does is it prevents shooting attacks. That's all it does.
I still think I'd put Cities of Sigmar. I'd put it at an A minus, but I still think it's an A. Like
I think they're still good. They've got a lot of options.
I've seen the options that they have, and like
I think they're A also. Yeah.
like we go ahead and one of my friends playing dwarves, and he just ran dwarves as a little tanky unit, and an entire army of Slaves of Darkness went up against it and did nothing.
Yeah. I'm pretty much like right here with everything you guys have except KO and Sylvaneth. Like Lumineth is S, Cities A, Dock A, Fire Slayers.
They're B.
Fire Slayers are B plus
putting 'em in
probably
B.
for me. IDK is an A. They're very good.
Yeah.
If Lumineth and Nighthawk weren't so oppressive right now, I feel like IDK would be very close to an S tier.
I just think IDK suffers from
KO D
Yeah.
tier, Seraphon B, Stormcast A. Yeah,
pretty
Yeah,
close.
really
Pretty
good.
close.
I can't see how you changed my stuff, but like KO is C plus. I'm still going to put Fire Slash in A. I won't put it in A plus, but I'll put it in A.
yeah.
I want Fire Slayers to be good, and I think
My-
a good player with Fire Slayers
I disagree.
will do really well.
Disagree.
I said
I-
a good player, Chet. I said
Well-
a good player, Joel.
No, I
Well,
don't
look,
even know about
my
that.
counter to that is a good player is gonna know their one-trick pony, and when you have a one-trick pony army like we saw with Iron Jaws in 3rd edition, like you lose to them the first game. The first time you play against Fire Slayers, you're going to get absolutely crushed. But you will never forget that one game of Fire Slayers. And
I
every
agree with
time
you. I
after
agree with
that,
you on that.
you are going to know exactly how their trick works, and you are going to be able to play around it.
Yep, I agree. I 100% agree. Like, I just don't.
I don't know.
Again, they don't work like they used to, where like you had certain units that could pop the once per ability and then get like the fight first. Like that was really useful for them. Now it's the whole army gets it. So if the whole army gets it, you just
You
your
might be
opponent's just
right. I
not
think
gonna,
I need to
not
fight
gonna
more
go into
with them.
what
Yeah.
they put into. Like I just
How many games have you had against Fire Slayers, Cameron?
One.
Play-
And I think
play-
I've played 6. I can't remember 6 or 7 games, and I'm like 2 and it was 7 games, and I'm 2 and 5. They just
the
don't
army
do
I've
well
got the
with
most
battle
right now
tactics.
is Skaven and Slaves. Those are the ones I
Mine-
fought the most so far.
Mine's been OBR.
OBR's
and,
great. OBR's really good.
OBR and what was the other one? Beast of Chaos. There's like a Beast of Chaos player local that he's like, I'm gonna play every single game of Beast of Chaos until they're no longer.
Okay, what do you think of it? Well, no, you know what? We'll get to that. That's the next show.
Well, yeah, we're getting into the alliances that I play now.
Yeah,
we're
well,
getting out of
that-
order.
we're going to
If
chaos.
you guys want to
next.
invite me back,
Yeah, well, next show
I'm
is
much stronger with the other ones.
Next show is Beast of Chaos and Blades. So those are the next 2.
I have very little experience with them, but I will give my opinion.
Going through their review, I like Beast of Chaos. I think they've got. We'll get into it, but I think the biggest thing the biggest downside they have is that their terrain piece is killable,
Yeah, I
and that
think
really
they're
that's a really detriment to that army.
the army that when I played against them, I wouldn't have won had I not played Nurgle. I feel like because dropping 6 bulls and charging with 6 bulls on an objective is just a blender.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
The other thing that they struggle from is porcupine units. Anything that fights first, the Bulgors just go
they're
down. They're
very
just gone.
squish.
All right, we'll get into it on the next show. But for now, that's all we got. Again, our next show is we're moving to the Chaos Grand Alliance, so we will go through all of them. Even though Beast of Chaos is going to be gone, I still want to go over them and just kind of go over what they have. But yeah, Beast of Chaos and Blades of Corn will be the next show. So
Fun.
other than that, thank you guys. Thank you, James. Thank you, Cameron. We'll get you guys back on, obviously, Cameron. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.